Why would you do that?
Yeah. Welcome, everybody, for watching Shank Club NFL broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitch, on Periscope, on Twitter, everywhere. Great show lined up for you today. That little bit of music was in homage of Pete's football team. He wanted to start at 2:00, but then he decided that we were going to have to move it back to 2:30 because he wanted to watch his team, and Everton were the greatest thing and they were going to win. Guess what? They got absolutely smashed by Man United, which is always funny. Pete, how are you, sir?
It's lovely to be speaking to you as well. And as much as I was hoping I was going to be running on here after just like a euphorious victory against Man United, as per usual, Everton let me down. And it sucks being an Everton fan, but my good friend Rachel did make me very happy by reminding me that the Steelers are 7-0. And this is an NFL program after all, and that is all that matters. Is there anybody else in the house that's 7-0? Fuck no.
Well, we've got 7 more injuries than you, but we're going to get on to injuries because I know that's a bit of a pet topic for you at the moment, but we're going to get on to that. We are going to have some other guests hopefully joining us. Jeff Reinbold said he's going to pop on. I have sent him the link. He's trying to find someone to upstage Mike Singletary last week, which was pretty amazing. I don't know whether he will, but we'll see. Jason said he's going to hop on as well. So,
birthday boy.
Got Kansas City yet. The birthday boy. Without further ado, we got a couple of guests that are joining us straight away. Let's bring them in. Say hello, Carl. 2 Feet in Bounds podcast and Pats fan. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. The last 2 results have been absolutely shambolic. Let's just say it. Let's just say it as we see it. We're awful. Move on.
Carl, I'm pretty sure that I feel Belichick saying that the season's a joke and the season's over. I mean, come on. There's still plenty to play for, right?
No one knows what Belichick is thinking or saying.
I don't think even he knows.
Correct. I don't think even Bill Belichick knows what he's doing either. So,
and last and certainly not least, all the way from New Jersey, I believe. That's where you are, isn't it? New Jersey.
Yep.
Tony
New Jersey.
The Nothing But Niners crew. How you doing, Tony? How's it going?
Good afternoon, fellas. Good morning here. Everything's great. Just here to talk some 49ers football with you guys, go over some of the injuries. We probably need about 45 minutes to go over all these injuries, but there's a lot of them.
I was going to say there's plenty to choose from, Tony. And Pete, throughout the last, well, apart from the Thursday night debacle, which we will get on to, Pete has been busting my chops for the last week about. Well, in fact, I'll set him up. And then you can put him straight. Pete, can you tell me what you said, the reason why, and who's to blame for all the 49ers injuries and the fact that they should all be sacked?
No. Let's get this right. All I was saying is this, don't get me wrong, it's been a crazy mental off-season, pre-season, whatever you want to call it. But there must be, Tony, there must be some kind of issue at the San Francisco 49ers because I understand everybody gets injuries, and I'm not talking about you're on the field, the leg buckles, the knee goes out, and these injuries you can't call for. But do we need to blame the health and fitness coaches, the players, for not preparing their bodies for this season? Is there a San Francisco 49ers Super Bowl hangover? And are these guys, I mean, at the end of the day, you guys are watching the 49ers play football and you know what you can do. If that was my team, I would be a little bit annoyed by the fact that my players are going down week in, week out, that they're getting these injuries. I mean, I know there's some bad injuries out there, but can we put some kind of heat on these guys not being prepared for the season and getting these injuries? Because if you guys had half of these players available for you, you'd be right there. And I said to Nick the other day, I'm scared I'm scared because you guys are the sort of team that are going to sneak into the playoffs. You're going to get all your players fit, and everyone's going to fear you. But at the moment, you can't get the players on the pitch. You can't get them on the field playing. And do you have to call them out for not being ready this season? Or is it just a horrible season, horrible load of injuries, and we have to hold our hand? Because I don't see any other team having this many injuries that the Niners are having.
Yeah.
I'm not having a go at the Niners because it wouldn't be fair to do so, but there isn't any other team that is having the injury crisis that the Niners are having. So do we have to call someone out?
I mean, what you said is interesting, how they didn't have the proper time to get this team prepared, which all falls into due to COVID because, the shortened training camp, all that stuff. Like normally these guys are in right around draft time. They have their workouts, they're in the facility training, doing agilities, sprints, all that stuff. And then they go to rookie mini camps. And then after that, you go to OTAs. They had none of that. Literally what happened is they had an 18-day window. And I'm pretty sure this is all the NFL. They had an 18-day window to get strength and conditioning, to get installs for the playbook. And I think out of the 18 days, 2 of them were allowed pads. So normally your offseason starts in April and goes all the way through August, and then you have 4 preseason games, right? We had 18 days to get in shape, get your wind up, get your strength up, learn the offense, do your installs for week 1, 2 days of contact, you're in week 1. That's tough. I mean, that's tough on anybody. You could run, you could lift at your house all you want, but football strength and football speed and football workouts are different than you going to a gym and just training on your own. Sure, you'll get stronger. I understand that. But when it comes to agilities, cutting, your tendons and your soft tissues, if it's not game action or game speed, it's different than what you're doing at home. So, and everyone said, "Oh, we don't need preseason. We don't need preseason." I tell you what, this season proved that we need a preseason. Maybe not 4 games, but at least 2. You know what I'm saying? You get your rotation down. The guys are thumping pads against other people. They're playing the game. But I don't know if it's 100% to blame on the strength and conditioning staff, if it's 100% to blame on the medical staff, the trainers, or if it's 100% to blame on the season being shortened. I think it's all into one bundle, and I think all 3 things are an issue.
So, Tony and Nick, were you guys the only team that had 4 weeks rather than 6 weeks? Because I know, Nick, you were telling me that you only had 4 weeks because Santa Clara had a different lockdown to everybody else.
Yes.
I mean, if that's the case, you guys have got legit reason to sort of say, come on. I mean, we had 4 weeks, not 6 weeks, like every other team. I mean, it's like how did the NFL allow that to happen?
I honestly think the league should have just been stopped because it's not fair. Because I'm going to tell you something. What happened the other night leading up to the Green Bay Packer game is absolutely ridiculous. Kendrick Bourne had a false positive test, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is not good. Okay.
He had a false positive test. They held him out. They held him, Debo, Ayuk, Trent Williams, our top, probably one of our top offensive linemen, if not the top, and protects the backside of the quarterback. Our 2 young wide receivers and the receiver that was supposed to have a big role to fill in, in this offense. So when you take those out and you say, oh, yeah, you guys are still going to play, and then all of a sudden the day of the game and the day before the game, everybody tested negative, and then you say, well, they can't play because they tested positive. But then a Green Bay Packer guy tested positive right after the game.
Yeah,
it's crazy. The injuries, this team, you're finally seeing the injuries finally catch up to the 49ers.
But Tom, you guys aren't out of this. This is what I was saying to Nick the other day. I mean, if there's ever a story.
No, mathematically, you're not eliminated.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
The NFL has been against your team. You've had 4 weeks, not 6 weeks. You've had all these injuries. You've had star players out. And Nick reminded me today about Bosa. I mean, fucking hell, I forgot about Bosa. What a player that guy is. And he's not even there in the team. And I was saying to Nick, you guys, if you can sneak in the playoffs and get your guys fit and get Jimmy G playing and get that Shanahan offense going, these teams are going to be shit scared of you boys. You're going to come in thinking this could be our, come on, this is the year for the Niners.
I agree with what you're saying, but for right now, the current status and shape of this team, it's a week by week thing. You have to literally take this week now. Jaquissi Tartt's out. He's done. He's got I think it's turf toe, a severe case of turf toe. They did a test on it. It showed that he has damage to the toe and the foot. So, it just seems like every week it's something new. There's a new injury. Now,
this is why we're saying, who do we call out? Do we call the players for not being fit? Do we blame the MetLife pitch for being terrible?
I'm going to tell you a true story about that.
Come on, who do we blame?
I'm going to tell you a true story about MetLife Stadium and that turf. My buddy is a state trooper, and he's been in that stadium numerous amounts of times. He was in the stadium during the game. I want to say maybe like a week ago. I don't know if it was for the Jets or the Giants, and that turf is atrocious. Like he played high school football. He played college football. He was probably maybe when he was in school, he was like a top 10 quarterback in the state of New Jersey. And he screwed around and walked on that turf. And he told me, he's like, Tone, he goes like, listen, I'm going to tell you straight up. He goes, I'm a diehard Giant fan, but that turf screwed up Bosa's leg. I can tell you that for a fact because it was horrible. And the NFL looked at it. And how are you going to tell me that it's just the 49ers crying because they lost Bosa? No, the next week later, 2 other guys went down. A Jet went down. 2 Giants went down. So
didn't Barkley get injured at MetLife?
No, Barkley got injured in Chicago.
Yeah.
Right.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure Zach Banner went down in the MetLife Stadium as well. So I'm with you on the MetLife turf.
Yes, that's it. Your tackle. Exactly. So it's not like,
Don't be talking about my tackle live on TV, Tone.
Huh?
Hey, leave the shit jokes alone because
come on. I thought I was here for the shit jokes. I'm not here for the fucking. I can't do anything else. Shit jokes is what I do.
It's not like it's not like I'm making like excuses and stuff like that. It is what it is. We got a legit case of the injury bug, but I mean, it's finally catching up to the 49ers. Okay.
And this is what I was saying to Nick. I wasn't having a snipe at the Niners. I was just playing devil's advocate because there doesn't seem to be another team that's getting the injuries that the Niners are getting. And I know that you guys are still in the hunt, which is, a very similar season. I know Nick was sort of taking the mickey out of me earlier on today when I said about the Steelers last season, and he's saying, but that's one player. But that one player made a big difference to the Steelers, having Big Ben go out last season, and our season was done, and we hung in there. Obviously, you guys are doing a similar thing. You're having all these injuries, but you're hanging in there, and you're still going to be there come right at the death. But at some point, I know this is one player, but you guys have got so many players. Do you, at some point, as a fan, think the preparation, is there an issue at the Niners, whether it be training, whether it be what they've done pre-season, that just hasn't been right this year? Because you guys should be doing better than what you're doing with who you've got. Or is it just the fact that it's just a lucky season? Nick, give me your take on it, buddy. Come on.
No,
you're sitting there smoking a cigar. Come on, you've been waiting to talk.
I've got a cigar on, but before we do that, Tony, we have Callie, as you know Callie from the Nothing But Niners. I don't know if you saw the comment. Just bring that up. I don't know if you want to address this. Top of the morning, gentlemen. Nick and Tony, when you guys get started, I have a question. Do you think we play too much zone coverage on defense? Anytime the Niners play a top-tier wide receiver, they get torched.
Or is it just a case of Devontae Adams is just that good?
Or is it just the fact that, Fitzmagic just lights up the guy that's come off the pavement down in Santa Clara who has never played.
Who legit was on Miami's practice squad, so he knew his tenants. Do I think they play too much zone? I think, honestly, they're trying to do what could help this team the best, whether it's zone, whether they're flipping the zone. I mean, we all know this team is a cover 3 team on the defensive side of the ball because of Saleh and his ties to Seattle. But, I mean, you've seen split safeties. You've seen cover 1, cover 0, cover 4, cover 8. You've seen all different looks. So I just think they're just trying to go with a matchup on a week-by-week basis. Sometimes you see man, sometimes you see zone, sometimes you see man to one side, zone on the other side, like back deep and the other side of the field. Tony Oden's really trying to flip everything around and just trying to play like a week-by-week, matchup-by-matchup basis. And, I mean, listen, it all stems to the injuries. Like I said this numerous times on Nothing But Niners. The 49ers do not value – I'm not going to say value. They don't invest big in corners for some reason. That's their theory. And if you take it back to where John Lynch played as a Denver Bronco and a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, their front four were ferocious. They had – when he was on those teams, their front fours were phenomenal. Okay, you had Sapp, you had Simeon Rice, you had Culpepper, you had I forgot the other guy's name, but he was a beast off the edge too. This team's theory, because of the way John Lynch believes when he played, was you build your front and your front helps the back end. So if you have a dominant front that gives less time for the quarterback to get the ball off, it helps your secondary. So you don't need top-notch secondary players out there. Well, guess what? His big investments is trickling down in the front because they're all injured. D Ford, second-round pick, 5-year, $85 million contract. They traded for him. Nick Bosa, second overall pick. I know Solomon Thomas was a rotational guy. It is what it is. He was a first-round pick. They lost Defoe in the offseason. Now you have Eric Armstead. You have Kinlaw. You have Kerry Hyder, who's playing phenomenal this year, in my opinion. And you have DJ Reed, who's like a run-stopping maniac in the middle. So you have a totally different look against your up front of your defense. I think our linebacker core is probably one of the best in the league. Pittsburgh has a phenomenal linebacker core. But I just think finally everything is catching up to this team where now they have to totally flip their philosophy, and they don't have the horses up front to do that, and they don't have the horses in the back to do that. So they're kind of caught. So that's why it's a week-by-week matchup. Like now this is his fourth year, I think, Shanahan, if I'm correct. Yes. He's going into his fourth year. I've never seen Saleh blitz as much with his linebackers other than this year. This is the only way they're generating pass rush. So,
but Shanahan's got the big bucks. He's got the big bucks.
I got to be honest with you. I'm not trying to make Shanahan. I mean, Shanahan has his flaws, okay? But I will tell you this about Shanahan. You take Russell Wilson, one player, away from the Seattle Seahawks, they're 0 whatever right now. They're not competing.
No, I
agree.
agree.
Right now.
Okay.
For the amount of people that this team lost and still be mathematically not eliminated.
Hey, Tone, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm giving you guys pelters, but I'm also giving you a lot of respect that the fact that you guys are still there with what you've got going on. I've got a lot of respect for that. And that's why I'm tongue-in-cheek with Nick. I'm cranking his balls because it's funny that you're sort of not winning games, but I've also got a lot of respect because you are still there. You're hanging in.
I think that all falls on Kyle Shanahan and his preparation to get these guys prepared. And also you have to include John Lynch and Adam Peters, their ability to identify the players that fit their system well. Not guys that you have to teach how to fit this system, but guys that you could just plug in and say, okay, listen, this is our system, learn the playbook, and they'll excel. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now. Nick Mullins is Nick Mullins, and I hope to God they don't keep doing the merry-go-round switch back and forth from CJ to Nick. If you put Nick Mullins, okay, and Trent Williams comes back, and Trent Williams wasn't out for this game, and you had Ayuk and not even Kittle. If you had Ayuk and Debo in this game versus Green Bay, I think it's a different game.
I mean, Mullins didn't exactly have a disastrous game on Thursday Night Football, did he? I mean, he threw for 291 yards. He did throw an interception, and the touchdown in garbage time. But Mullins wasn't exactly that bad. I think he was just under duress so much of the time. Yeah. I mean,
Trent Williams was out. They were loading up on Justin School on the left side, and the kid got worked several times. And several means a lot in this instance.
I mean, Justin did get schooled totally, and it also the weird thing as well that I found strange was he took Grasu out, he messed around with the rest of the line, and it kind of threw everyone off, and it didn't help having Trent go down with a fake bloody COVID thing, and it was annoying. But I don't see, and it obviously we heard afterwards, Grassu was this, that, and the other, but you know, he shouldn't have messed around with it.
Nick, in answer to Cully's question there, any times the Niners play a top wide receivers get torched, all you got to do is just play New England Patriots every week and you'll be fine, right? Because they haven't got any legit.
Shots fired.
Right.
Nick, can I just object? Nick?
Go ahead.
Have you actually noticed that I've only spoken a couple of times now, and this is the first time he's been drinking already? So now he's doing that. All of a sudden, he's starting to give it that after he's had a drink.
How do you think it's like for me when he's giving me shit in the background on WhatsApp, and I know he's had a couple of sherbets?
Good to see you, Coach.
Jeff,
how you guys doing? Aloha,
how you
everybody.
doing?
Good morning.
Aloha, Coach. How you going? You good?
I'm better than that, man. I'm about as good as it can get.
Oh, good man. I haven't had a chance to catch up with you last week. Thanks for joining the crew last week, and I know you made Nick's day by bringing Singletary on the show. I mean, he hasn't stopped talking about it all week, so thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Every once in a while, we'll sneak a guest on for you with you guys. And
good man.
I had a guy lined up this morning, but the times didn't work out because they're on the practice field. But I got a special one that'll be really fun if I can get him on next Saturday.
Have you been keeping on?
Don't bring him on next Sunday. We won't be here.
Oh, okay, Saturday night. Don't be cheeky out there, man. Come on now. How's everything back in the UK?
Everything's going well, Coach, to be fair. I mean, if Everton had won today against Man United, everything would have been great. But as I've reminded, the Steelers are 7-0, Coach, so everything's good.
Well, let me ask you a question now. How bad did my Whites pound Crystal Palace today?
Oh, that's Nick. I know Nick loves.
They don't start till 3,
No.
and I'm a Crystal Palace fan today, and I can't stand them.
Well, I'm gonna tell you then. I know something else you are. Is you're gonna be really sad today. That's what you're gonna be.
We're sad every day, Coach.
Well, the Leeds bubble has kind of burst a bit, so they need a bounce back game. Definitely, I watched them I think it was last weekend, and they did look a bit like headless chickens. They do play some good football, but then they just kind of run around, and I don't know.
Hey,
so
let me ask the Patriots fan if it's a little harder to wear that jersey when you're 2-5 instead of 5-2.
Jeff is on fire today.
Brilliant, Coach. You're on my team today.
Support a Patriot, die as a Patriot.
Hey, there you go. I'm all for that. Now, so seriously, what's your take on what's going on in New England?
Cam Newton is struggling. The last 2 or 3 games, he's just been not himself at all. I mean, something like he's had now 2 touchdowns and 7 interceptions now, plus a fumble from the Buffalo game. It's just been a constant problem for all of us here. The defensive side of the ball is just not there anymore. When you've had like 9 opt-outs through COVID, I know I'm not putting that as an excuse.
Yeah.
But when you have 9 opt-outs on defense, I think that's got to be a huge problem, especially with Dante Hightower. He's the main cornerstone of that linebacking core, and he's gone. And now, Nick will easily tell you what the 49ers done to our run defense. They absolutely gashed us.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know what? Let me ask you a question as a Patriot fan, right? And this is kind of interesting to me. Is that if you're at this point and you're 2-5, and you know that Cam is not a long-term solution for you, when do you pull the plug on that and you put Stidham in there and give him a series of games, give him 6 games at the end or whatever, to see exactly what he is? Because if you don't know, then you're looking at having to find a quarterback either in free agency, which is tough because they're so expensive, or one in the draft.
Coach, are you saying that Cam Newton's not going to be at New England next year?
Well, I mean, look at the reality of it. It's a 1-year contract. It was for $1 million.
Yeah.
And so it was a great move, I thought, at the time, and I still think it was what he had to do. But now you're 2-5, and if you lose again, you're probably out of the playoffs. And you got to find out whether Stidham is a guy or not. And the only way you can do that is play him.
So week 10, when we lose to the Ravens, then that'll be our 6th loss on the season. So no, we won't get to the playoffs now. I just think this team's not good enough. And even if Cam Newton does give back to some shred of relevance, I don't think it's going to be enough. It's Buffalo's to throw away. It's Buffalo's to throw away now.
Everybody loves to pound on the Patriots now that they're they
dead.
They just don't have enough. They don't have enough players. But I thought what Belichick did, just purely from a coaching standpoint, right, in that game last week against Buffalo, was really a great coaching job because they got a chance against a team that's way better than them. He kept that game close, and they had the ball and driving at the end. And that's all you can ask when you're underpowered. I mean, so many other teams, you look at them play and they don't have a chance. And they don't coach to give themselves a chance. But I really thought that coaching job he did last week might have been one of the best ones he's done.
Jeff, do you think we would be seeing a different New England team if we had all the players that weren't opting out for COVID and had Cam Newton and a QB? Do you think we'd be seeing a different New England team?
Well, I think certainly you see a different New England defense because I agree. I mean, you can't lose frontline players and not just frontline players, but I mean, San Francisco has proven this too. You can't lose George Kittle and guys like that because you can't replace them. There's such a drop between the first guy and the second guy. So if you take, for example, Pete, you take your guys and say, okay, let's imagine that you lost Minka and you lost Watt and you lost Cam Hayward, those three, and then think about how different your defense would be because those are difference maker players. And that's what happened in New England with the opt-outs and, then
I think defensively, we would be a lot more stronger. But Cam Newton has walked into the same situation as what Brady had last year. He's walked into the situation, looked at his receiver core, thought, Julian, James White, is that all I've got to fucking throw to? Because no one else is capable of it. It's now becoming a fact now that N'Keal Harry, who picked up the first round of the draft last year from Arizona State, looks like he's becoming a bust.
Well, I was just about to mention his name actually because big things were expected of him and of Cam, and they really, really. I mean, Cam. Obviously, I don't watch them every week. I watch the 40-minute highlights, whatever, only to laugh when they lose, and it's been quite a lot this season. But talking about the Niners game, we've got no pass rush, and we made Cam Newton look like what he was like before he got binned in Carolina. And I've said all along Cam Newton wasn't going to work out in New England. And I don't like being proved right. Well, actually, no, I do.
Did we get tricked with his game at Seattle, though? Did we get tricked for that game at Seattle? When we thought, hold on a minute. They're close. They're close, but really they're not close.
But,
Tony, what do you think regarding Cam Newton and the situation in New England? I mean, again, you probably see more of it where you are because of where you're based and stuff. What do you think's the issue with Cam Newton?
I don't know what the issue is with him, but I would definitely set him in place standing. Definitely, because I think we could all agree the way he's performing this year, he's not a part of that team's plans going forward. So I would definitely play the young kid and see what he has.
I agree with you. And what's interesting is you look at it right now in the season, you really can say who the contenders are, who the pretenders are, and who the guys that got no shot are. And what's maybe more concerning to me if I'm a New England fan is the fact that they haven't drafted well. And when you don't draft well, when you miss on your first through third round picks, 2 years into your program or 3 years down the road from their draft date, they've got to be the core of your football team. And you look at what they've done with their drafts in the last 3 or 4 years, and granted they've drafted, in low draft position because they've been so successful. But you can't miss on first rounders. And if you miss on first rounders, it really sets you back. And, Carl was right. Shit, what do you got to throw to?
Have we got our answer already in week 8? Is it Belichick or is it Brady? Have we got our answer week 8 already?
Well, I think
Oh, it's a
just
tough one. It's a tough one. Look at
never
Brady throwing up
one
numbers at the
thing.
Bucs.
It's never just one thing, right? Because it obviously you see the impact of Tom Brady, right? But again, Julian Edelman's hurt, and
Yeah, he is.
what else do you got to throw to? And N'Keal Harry's been a bust. Let's face it.
Yeah.
You don't
They're
have
throwing
a tight end. They've been constantly pushing the envelope to keep, they haven't looked to the long-term future because that's the business. The future is right now, and you better win now, not next year. Next year.
We double dipped at tight end in the draft, picking up Devin Asiasi out of UCLA and Dalton Keene out of Virginia Tech. But we've seen a few snaps off them at best.
But that's what I'm saying. If you say example, that's two misses at the same position, right? So you start adding up the misses that they've had in the draft, and it's no wonder they're where they're at right now.
Talking about teams and drafting the players, this could be the first time in NFL Pittsburgh franchise history that all their draft picks get a helmet in a regular season game. Carlos Davis sounds like he's going to be called up for the Steelers. So it looks like we're actually drafting well.
Hey, don't be gloating over there, man. This game will humble your
Jeff,
ass.
honestly, you wouldn't believe the amount of
the first season ever. All our guys get suited up. I mean, come on, boys. We gotta enjoy it while it's there.
It could be worse, Pete. It could be worse, and Tony will atone to this. Your second wide receiver, number 2 wide receiver, could be River Craycraft.
Yeah.
Who's
River? I want to say it again because
that's a brilliant name. It is a brilliant name.
That is a porn star name if I've ever heard one. When you see these River Craycraft.
It just needs that. It just needs that. Or what Pete's
Hey, wait a second. It sounds like you know way too much about the porn industry to me.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I should have got it. That probably should have been the industry.
Jeff, these are COVID times.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, right? I'm going back to the Brady Belichick thing. It's quite interesting. Brady, forget Antonio Brown for a minute, has got great weapons down there, and he's got a decent line, and so he's got someone he can throw to. Whereas Belichick and Cam, as we've said, have got nothing. Yeah. So
he has got
the
nothing.
game plan could be absolutely amazing, and then it's like, who do I throw it to? Because I've got
the only thing really I've seen in the last couple of weeks that's come out any good so far of our 2 losses is the fact that Sony Michel is now on the outside looking in because Damian Harris is now just ripping it up on the running game. He's played 3 games for us and had 2 100-yard rushing games. When was the last time Sony Michel done that? Or if he did,
I reckon probably quite a few years ago when he was a no one and all of a sudden he was plucked out of obscurity and literally hit the ground running.
The last time he had a 100-yard rushing game, for what I can recall, it was in the divisional round against the Chargers. Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, but you know what? It's interesting about that too. And if you look at their history, New England's history, they've never really been a team that had a, quote, feature back. They've always had backs that kind of like, whether it was James White or Burkhead or Sony Michel, they kind of ride the horse that's hot or the one that they think, Michel would go from having a 100-yard game to getting 6 touches the next week. And so it's hard to, when you're used like that, it's hard to become that consistent, Derrick Henry kind of guy who gets all the touches or, Zeke Elliott or guys like that. You know what? That brings up another point. Did you guys watch the Cowboy game last week?
No, but I'll be watching it this week with a huge cigar on. I'll be relaxed.
Put it this way, Jeff. Ben DiNucci was not ready for that game. He needed to go back on. He needed to go back on the grill. He was still mooing.
You know what? I think it's interesting though. But I watched Zeke and he just didn't look good to me. I thought that the other kid was the better back of the two Cowboy backs. I was just like, he looked.
Tony Pollard.
Pollard looked good. He had some juice and he had some step, but Zeke looked like he was fat and lacked interest.
Do you think though with Zeke that because the season is in the crapper now, forget anything else? I mean, I know their division is garbage, and if they can somehow get a few wins and blah blah blah, but it's. I mean, the Cowboys are imploding, and they're like. I mean, they've had a couple of that have been really bad. Niners have got so many injuries that it's bad, but Dak Prescott, as much as maligned as he is, and a lot of people like him, a lot of people say he's Tony Romo too, etc.
No,
it does a bit like Big Ben last year with the Steelers. It shows just how important one piece can be. I know their offensive line's banged up, and obviously things like that, but. That I felt sorry for Danucci last week. I got to say, I mean, he was getting the shit kicked out of him.
Well, part of the reason he was getting the crap knocked out of him, like you said, was because he didn't know where to go with the ball. I mean, it was just too fast for him. It was too much for him. And let me tell you something. The guys that they brought in, or the guys that they're talking about starting this week, whether it's Gilbert or Ross or whoever, it ain't gonna be any different because. Those guys are, Gilbert's only played in preseason games. I mean, he's like, you lose your quarterbacks, fellas, and I'm telling you, I don't care who you are.
Wait, I heard Gilbert. Are we talking about the Dallas QB that's going to get smashed this weekend?
Well, we're talking about every quarterback. I mean, you lose your quarterback.
Mr. Texas.
And it don't matter. I mean, you just can't.
Jeff, you don't have to tell me about losing the quarterback last year.
Well, yeah, you know it better. As a Steeler fan, you know it better than anybody. And now San Francisco's the same thing. You watched last week, and they bring in that kid, and it's a long drop. I mean, it's a long drop. You got to be perfect at everything. And when you lose the guy who is your franchise guy, man, I'm telling you, it's just same thing. You draft one and miss. It's a huge hole in your program. The Jets are facing it right now with Darnold. I mean,
Jeff, how do we get to a point where a franchise like Dallas, they've signed Dalton on a pretty sort of small contract to have a backup QB. He goes down, and they end up bringing someone from Orlando to play in an NFL game. How do NFL teams end up being in a situation where they've got players that are coming off of these teams and they're not there ready to go? It doesn't make sense to me.
I'll tell you where it comes from. It comes from the salary cap, because you got to think about it this way, fellas. When you have a big money guy, right, at any position, but you've got a big money guy, and Dallas, frankly, has a lot of big money guys.
They paid everyone.
That's the way Jerry works, right? He's going to pay his stars. Well, you have to backload that with rookie contracts because that's the only way you can make the cap.
Exactly.
So then all you got to do is lose a couple of those big money guys, and now you're out there playing with guys that, are rookies or free agents, or because you have to make the economics of the game work. And salary cap's a great thing because it gives you competitive balance around the league, where you can't have a Man United or a Man City that just goes out and buys everybody and dominates the league. But
thanks
the
for rubbing
problem
it
with
in,
that
Jeff.
is if you lose some of those superstars, then you're playing with backups and backups, money guys.
Yeah.
Got a quick
guys,
question.
I gotta run because I gotta go coach football. But hey, it's great talking
Jeff.
to you. I love this show.
As ever. It's
like a bunch of dudes sitting in a pub talking
We
football.
love having you on, Jeff. Jeff, you're always welcome, Jeff.
We'll do it again soon. We'll look forward to next Saturday to see who you're going to bring on.
Who my mystery guest is? Okay, you got it, buddy.
Oh, mystery
Jeff,
guest.
You are the man.
Later, fellas.
We love you.
Nice to see you, Jeff.
Now, just one quick thing before you move on, what Jeff said. Now, you see how he mentioned like the drop off. Like you have high paid players on your roster. They go down. Now your drop off drops because now you have all that money allocated in. Like just for example, we'll use the Niners because I know the numbers. Like Jimmy, $27+ million in him. You have D Ford, $17.5 million. You have Richard Sherman at $13.5 million. So now you have all this. Like the Niners have $68 million tied up on their injury reserve list, and that's just one season of salary. That's not like their total contract values. So now, what he said was like he gave San Francisco as an example how there's a drop off between Jimmy and Nick. I agree with him to a point, but I also feel that if Trent Williams was in that game and those other players that were benched because of COVID were in that game, I think you see a different style of game. And that what I'm trying to get to is it's coaching. Like Kyle's ability to adjust to who he has on the field, and that's how they're competitive with all those injuries. Now, if you look at Dallas, is Mike McCarthy adjusting his offense to the strength of his players that are coming in? No. He's trying to run his full-out offense with a quarterback that's never been in his system, that's never faced NFL competition. If I was the coach of that team, I would make it easy for him. I would restrict my offense or curtail my offense to something basic, let him run the ball, let him cut quick, short passes, let him get into a rhythm, and then you try to open up and see what you can get as far as you can get with him.
Is Jimmy G the man? Is Jimmy G the man, though, Nick? Is Jimmy G the man at the Niners? Is that why all your offense? It doesn't matter who comes in because they're not confident on Jimmy G.
Let me explain something to you. I'm not getting to the Jimmy G debate because I'm telling you right now, everyone's going to bash me. I'm not getting.
Go on. No.
This is my.
I mean, Carl's had a bashing for the last half an hour, so it's about time he got on the Niners.
This is my Jimmy G thing. Okay. If he restructures and we get him on the cheap, which I don't think he'll do,
they're not going to restructure.
I don't think
he has no guaranteed money left on his contract after this year.
Nick, I will promise you one thing. I swear on my house, my money in the bank, my kids, everything, my pension, they are not restructuring his deal. Only thing they will do
shit ton of money, Tony. That's a shit ton of money you got tied up there.
Is that they rip up his contract and give him a new deal. They're not restructuring his current contract because now let's honestly think about this, right? Right off the bat, Bosa was gone, D Ford was gone, Sherman was gone within the first 3 weeks, right? That's big money tied up. Now, I really don't want to get into this. If they really felt 100% Jimmy G was their guy, 100%. They could have went to him and say, listen, I want to take your $27 million plus a year for 2020. We're going to renegotiate it, give you a $7 million cap space, a cap hit, and give you a $20 million bonus paid off the rest of the years, which you take $20 million. He has 2 years left on his deal. So it would be, I don't know, I'm not good at math at the top of my head, but it would be $20 million stretched out over 3 seasons. Okay, so now that gives them cap space to be able to address the injured players. Let's go get this guy to fill in for Bosa. Let's go get this guy to fill in for Sherman. But if they do that, that non-guarantee disappears, and now they can't get out of this deal free. If they decide he's not a part of this team's future, they walk away. $2 million. I think it's 2.5 or let's see.
I thought it was 3 million, something like that.
Let's just say it's $3 million. They're on the hook for $3 million, where there's $51 million left on his deal, non-guaranteed. So
Tony, come on, tell me, Tony, is Jimmy G the man to take the franchise forward?
Well, let me ask you this, and maybe that'll answer your question. Nick, obviously you watched the 49ers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you watch the Seattle game?
I can't remember. The Green Bay game and the Seattle game. I just don't compute. Yes, I did watch it.
But why were they calling the guy out in the middle of the Super Bowl? That he,
hold on. I'm getting to my point. So you watched the Seattle game, right?
Yep.
Did you see a difference in the play calling from when Jimmy was in the game to when Nick Mullins was in the game?
I did.
I sure as did because they put up 3 touchdowns in a matter of a quarter and a half.
But the thing is, okay, and it's always going to be the argument when any franchise quarterback goes out to every game plan changes. And I'm not saying it was prevent defense or anything like that.
It wasn't.
But 238 yards in a quarter, and Jimmy G struggled all that time. I love Nick Mullins, but he is not a starting quarterback in the NFL.
I agree with you. I'm not saying he's not the future of the 49ers, by all means.
Why?
But I will tell you this. Kyle Shanahan is comfortable calling his offense with Nick rather than Jimmy. Because when Jimmy's in the game, everything is lateral. When Nick or CJ's in the game, it's vertical.
Tony, is this dependent on obviously the players that you've got available to at the moment? Is it literally come to a point where these players aren't available, so this QB suits my system better, and all of a sudden week?
No, I think it's his scheme.
Right.
He designs his scheme to if Jimmy's in the game. Like if you notice, I forgot what game it was. Maybe it was the New England game, or maybe it was the Ram game. It was either New England or the Rams, where Jimmy threw for 200 and something yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, but you saw the Rams game. He had players that were sort of running out of the backfield. You know, you were doing stuff. You had players
exactly
available.
My point.
You had players available that game.
The ball traveled
on Jimmy.
Out of his 200 and let's say 70 yards. I'm just using numbers off the top of my head. The ball traveled 30 yards in the air out of all those yards. So what does that tell you? Everything is quick to the out, over the middle, quick screen. They're getting the ball out of Jimmy's hands as fast as possible and putting it into the playmakers of this offense, which if you remember last year in the Super Bowl, Jimmy had guys wide open in the Super Bowl. He had George Kittle standing in the middle of the field doing jumping jacks basically, and he missed him. Okay, so that tells me Jimmy has – when Jimmy gets rattled or hit, I feel like he gets – and I'm not trying to bash Jimmy. I'm just talking like as a football a person that knows football somewhat, like that coached it, that played it. It seems like if you get to Jimmy and you start hitting him and making him feel uncomfortable, his eyes go from looking down the field to looking to the line. Where's the pressure coming from? And he totally just loses focus off of deep. Like, and I just feel Kyle doesn't trust him making that throw if it's not someone that's schemed right open. Like where if it's like a bootleg and he rolls the pocket and then you have Kittle coming across the field wide open. That's how Jimmy will make that throw 15, 20 yards down the field if it's schemed. But if you expect Jimmy to stand in the pocket and make those throws, it's kind of like I don't think he's one. I feel like Kyle's handcuffed with his play call when Jimmy's in there.
One thing
now, I mean, like you're a Patriots fan, right, Carl? Mm-hmm. You're a Patriots fan. When Jimmy was with the Patriots, were you guys sold that he's the future of your team?
Well, he never was. I remember the game he played for Brady was always there. He was never going to be the future because he was filling a gap.
I think that was different. I think that was difficult at the time because he only played 2 games for us at the time.
Exactly. He was never the man, was he? He was always Brady's understudy then.
It was always Brady's understudy, but Belichick has reiterated that, you know, Garoppolo was going to hopefully one day be the successor to Brady. And I revert to this back a couple 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was on this show that Brady ended up doing an end around on Belichick, went to Kraft and turned around and said, no, ship Jimmy G somewhere else because I'm staying put. So, but
because I can see Jimmy G going back to New England and being.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't honestly surprise me.
Right? The thing is with this, and the thing that bothers me from a Niners perspective, he should not have been in those games. He wasn't right. And I said to Pete when we were talking about stuff, if the player says he's good to go, so like he goes into the strength and conditioning people, all the doctors, and I can see it's hurting you a little bit. No, I'm fine, coach. Put me in. I can start. I can do it. And it's blatantly obvious, blatant to anyone who saw those games. Jimmy G was struggling with his throws, and I'm not saying he's Aaron Rodgers spiral and blah blah, but you can see he's not forcing it because his ankle hurts. Why didn't Shanahan say, Jimmy, sorry, you're not fit. We're going with Mullins. We're going with CJ. Tony.
I'm going to tell you why. Because they're evaluating him in practice. They're watching his leg. They're watching him throw in practice, and then throwing with a helmet and t-shirt and shorts on, and playing with shoulder pads and people coming breathing down your neck to take your head off are two different things.
Oh, okay? I get that because we saw Brian.
I could say
he was awesome.
I never played quarterback. I played different. I played defensive side of the ball. But when I coached my quarterbacks at the high school level, you could see, like me personally, when just warming up and running patterns with them, having the receivers do like their routes, it was just like we did like 7-on-7. You could see the difference from when you're throwing a ball in a 7-on-7 with the trajectory, and the difference when someone's breathing down your neck and you need to make a throw. The push off in your back leg, which is his right ankle, if I'm correct, right? That's the ankle that's hurt. It's night and day difference. It's night and day difference pressure on that joint. So
the thing is, you can see because when he's throwing it, he lifts his right leg up. He's not planting.
Exactly.
So,
but you can't blame them because in practice he's not doing that.
Nick, are we looking at this very much like the Steelers? At the end of the day, the quarterback isn't the person that's going to be winning the Super Bowl. It's a team game because the Niners are very much like the Steelers. 100%. They're a complete team. And if they've got a half legit quarterback with the rest of the team fit, they're going to contend.
Yes.
But without the rest of the team, they don't have a mega star QB like Mahomes, like Jackson, that is going to take that team to the next level. It's got to be the whole thing.
Whoa! Can I just call you out there? You just said Lamar Jackson. I got two stats for you. He's 24. He's 24-1 against every other team in the NFL who are okay and not very good. He's 0-6 against high quality opponents. He's lost 3 times to Kansas City. He's lost 2 games in the playoffs to the Chargers and to the Tennessee Titans. And last week just gone, lost to your Steelers.
Yeah.
Do not put Lamar Jackson in the same category.
I've been called out by Carl, and I'm quite rightly called out there.
The other
Lamar sucks.
What you said about,
but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying.
One player.
You're a team like the Steelers. We're not a QB team the QB is gonna take us to the Super Bowl. We've got to have everything firing to be legit.
Would you be doing as well this season if Ben had got injured in week 1 in the first quarter and you had either Duck Hodges or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with all those weapons and that defense? There is no way on earth you'd be 7-0. Sorry.
No, and I agree, but as every Steeler will probably say, Ben isn't lining it up at the minute, Nick. And it is, we have been a little bit more
of a game manager.
Yeah, he is game managing, but he's still not exactly having a blinding game. And the difference between Ben and Duck Hodges and Jimmy Garoppolo is that it's not the QB that is winning the games. He's controlling the game. He's controlling the offense, but the defense is winning it for us. Special teams are getting us good field position. And this is the different. We've been very lucky with this season. We've had a few big injuries. We've had no COVID-related injuries. We've been able to sort of keep the squad, the roster going. Next man up has been filling gaps. But
Devin Bush is out. Sack the conditioning staff.
But Devin Bush is out. But you look at Robert Spillane that's come in and he's looked fucking mustard, mate. He's been absolutely electric with that pick 6 last week against fucking Jackson. But
who threw it right to him like he couldn't see. I mean, I don't know what he was.
Right time, right place. But all I'm saying is the Niners, they just need, if Jimmy G was playing, if Nick Mullins was playing with a full squad, they would be doing a lot better than what they would be doing now. So you can't blame the QBs and the coaches right now, Nick. It doesn't matter how much, what you're losing these games to Green Bay. You haven't got your guys out on the field. You can't blame the coaches. You can't blame the QB. It's a shit season. It's a write-off, and you're still in it. But if all your players come back and you've got Mullins or Jimmy G and all your players come back, it's fine.
But we're not going to have all the players because we're still not going to have our pass rush. D Ford will not take the field this year. Bosa won't take the field this year.
But I think
Solomon Thomas.
I think if Kyle had his offense at full strength, I think he could. All right. How do we say this? If you look at the Green Bay game, right? Everyone said, "Oh, Jimmy only threw for 8 passes. How the hell? What did Kyle don't believe in him? Whatever." But guess what? Our run game kept Aaron Rodgers on the sideline, and Kyle's offense is predicated off of the run game. It's a heavy play action based offense. So if that is working.
I'm with Kyle on this one.
No, sorry. Apart from
bring it.
Apart from
you can't bring the Green Bay into this.
Apart from Jarrett McKinnon, who got I think it was 52 yards rushing, and yeah, he got a touchdown, but that was in garbage time. Apart from that, your running game was not
non-existent.
I'm talking about last year. I'm talking about last year.
Oh, last year you kicked everyone's ass.
That's what I'm talking about.
Because you had everybody fit.
What I'm talking about is the offense. If you take that offensive game plan versus Green Bay in the NFC Championship game, that was their best defense. Like, they didn't even need their defense. They simply just ran the ball and kept Aaron on the sideline. And every time they had possession of the ball, they scored a touchdown. And then the defense would come out and then, do their thing. But what I'm saying is that's the ability of Kyle Shanahan's offense when it's healthy. That's Kyle Shanahan's offense at its best, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and what I'm trying to say is it doesn't matter who you've got at QB. If you've got all your players fit and you're doing your system, it doesn't matter who you've got there, Nick. So it doesn't matter if you've got Mullins. It doesn't matter if you've got Jimmy G. That's not the San Francisco issue.
Right.
It is just getting your players fit and getting them on the field, and you will be contending, for fuck's sake.
I appreciate what you're saying about the Niners. But you can't say that about a lot of other teams with their QBs. You just can't.
Yeah, we're not talking about the other teams. We're talking about the Niners,
but
and I'm giving you a lot of respect. The fact that you're not giving
any respect.
The only thing I will take away out of this 49ers Packers game that happened on Thursday Night Football was the best bit was Richie James. He had an outstanding game for someone who I knew no one about.
Absent. No one knew anything about Richie James Jr. because he's had a little bit of part here and there in the last couple of years. And literally, as I said, the porn star and Richie James were the number one starters. But now, when we start to get players back, and Tony will atone to this, you won't see Richie James. You won't see him. He'll do a kickoff and he'll be doing all that shit.
But this is what I'm saying. But Nick, this is what I'm saying. As much as you guys have been struggling with injuries, if you guys can sneak the playoffs and get you guys fit, everybody in the NFC is going to fear you guys. No one will want to play you boys because you are not playing to the level that you should be. And that is down to injuries. So you get these guys back and everyone is going to fear you.
And to make matters even worse, you play in the toughest division in the NFL. You play in the NFC West.
Tony, do you think Sherman is ever going to play for
whoa. Hold on a minute. Let me just say, this week, the Bills beat Seattle and the Dolphins beat Zona. So you guys have got a way of one this week. That's all I'm saying.
No, if we beat Green Bay or if we beat Green Bay this past week, I'd be like, listen, then I would say you guys better watch out.
We're not done. We're not done.
You better watch out because now
you're still not out of this time. You still ain't out, brother.
I'll tell you this straight up.
You can't stick a fork in the Niners yet. Jesus Christ. You cannot stick a fork in the Niners yet.
Stick a fork in them.
No, they've still got a good schedule to go through, but they need some of their players back. They're going to have any sort of chance of getting a wild card.
You say that, right? You say that, but we lost to the fucking Dolphins that we should have absolutely waxed. Forget Fitzmagic and all that.
Nick, come on, you pulled a bloody. You had a guy at corner that was just literally dragged off the streets. I mean, and Fitzmagic lit him up. You can't call for that.
We've been lit up.
And his pineapple shirt deserved him a W at the end of the game. I mean, come on, that shirt was legit.
Time, I still you need to hop off because I can see you getting some background in the bit.
Yeah, 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. I got. It's already starting.
It's the weekend. You got a family. We totally.
Yeah,
understand.
no, of course.
We love you. We love you hopping on time. Just give us your final thoughts on the Niners going forward. Will they sneak in the wild card? Are they done? Just give us your take.
Honestly, Nick, I would love to answer that, but I don't know because every week there's a new injury. So I don't know how this team could go. I could sit here and tell you, yeah, they're going to compete. I think they're going to be the eighth team because allegedly now there's an eighth team that's going to be in the playoffs that I heard. I thought it was 7, but now it's 8.
Well, I think that's because the NFC, whatever division Dallas are in, because that's so poor, I think that's making it better. Because then the 9th seed in the NFC, Christ knows how, but I don't know.
But like, as far as like,
I don't agree with that. The NFC East is so pathetic right now. I think whoever wins the NFC East, yeah, okay, you're division winners, that's fine. But if you have a record which is under 500, then no, you don't deserve to go to the playoffs. That should go to the next best team down. Not stick an 8th seed in just so the case of we'll put another wild card in there just so the NFC East has got.
It's a crazy situation.
Carl, it doesn't matter how desperate you are, Carl. It doesn't matter how desperate you are.
Anyway, this is Tony's wrap up because he's got to go. Shut up, Tony.
Don't say shut up. That's hard. But listen, I think like if the injury bug stops and they start getting healthy, I think they could make a push. I really do. I don't think you're going to see Kittle back this year. They'd be stupid to rush him. I think Richard Sherman's not going to play again this year. I don't think Dee Ford's going to play again this year. So it's pretty much what we have on defense that's going to be a part of this. And the offense, they're only going to get healthier. And so, I mean, could they make a push? Yes, but I really think, like, I don't know if there's a lot of 49ers fans watching this. I know Callie Young's in here, but I really think this offseason for the 49ers, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be off the hook. There's going to be a lot of decisions being made on players that were given big deals, and that's all I'm going to leave it at. Because my number one tell-all sign is when I saw they traded Quan Alexander, I was like, this team's up to something. It's not a full rebuild. I will say that. I don't think it's a full rebuild. I think they're going to go into a restock.
Just won you made the Super Bowl. You're not in rebuild mode, bro.
No, I'm just saying. Because some people took that move as a rebuild, getting rid of Quan's contract, there was rumors that Tart was going to be moved. There was rumors that Jimmy Ward, they were receiving calls on Jimmy Ward, who just signed a new deal. So it's kind of like, all right, what are they doing? Are they going to try just to clear the cap and try to just reload the roster? Or is this going to be, which I don't think it is, it's going to be a full tear this down and rebuild it. I don't think it's going to be that because I think they have a lot of young players in their nucleus that are still on rookie deals that could help them add pieces. But the
Niners have got a lot to come. And I like the Niners team, and I hate to say it, Nick, but I really like the team.
Don't you dare say you like them.
No, I'm being for real. I'm being for real. This team has just been unlucky this season, and you can't have fans coming out hating the team, moaning about anything. It's been a suck season when it comes to injuries. But you look at the players you've got. You boys are fucking legit. You've got a great team. You play some great schemes.
Oh, we would be.
When you're all fit,
on the field.
When you're all fit, you're one of the best teams in the NFL. So
I think the fans' biggest issue is the inconsistency of Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that is the main issue of this team.
How can you, Jimmy G's throwing to guys off the street? It's just
I'm saying when they had Kittle,
even before.
I'm talking the Super Bowl. I understand that,
but you've proved you don't need a star QB to make the Super Bowl because Jimmy G is 100%
right.
QB.
But you need a quarterback
in the clutch moments.
$27 million to complete passes to wide open wide receivers. That's what this offense
doesn't even see them.
Now, my thing is, if you take Kyle Shanahan's offenses over his career as a play caller, right? He did it with Washington, Houston Texans, Cleveland Browns, the Atlanta Falcons, right? If you look at the 49ers offense, it looks nothing like those offense. This is a totally different offense. And people say, oh, Kyle's arrogant. No, Kyle's not arrogant. He is a little cocky with some things, but by him switching, by this offense having a different look in San Francisco, that tells me he's adjusting to what he has. And he's trying to make it easy for the players that he has.
Tony, is this a different offense, or is this 2020 COVID fucks up everything offense?
No, I think it's a different offense. When Jimmy's on the field,
that's fair enough. Okay.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I think Matt Ryan is a pretty damn good quarterback, right? All right. His year when they went to the Super Bowl, Matt Ryan was an MVP quarterback. Matt Ryan was an MVP quarterback because of Kyle's offense, in my opinion. Because the minute Kyle left, Matt Ryan came right back down to normalcy.
What do you think about Sam Darnold at the Niners if they want to get
sorry, Nick, this is the perfect example. You know what I mean? Kelly was coming on. He's saying Jimmy G's regret. I can't understand how you can give any player saying they've regressed in a season where there's so much going on. I don't think you can give anything. You can't give any credit to any player. Anything. It's such a weird season.
I agree what you're saying, but you see what Callie just said? This is what I just talked about, being the fans being frustrated. I understand this season was like a wash.
But you're frustrated because of the results and because you're bottom of the division, but you can't take this all on Jimmy G, surely.
No. I'm not saying it's just this season. I think it's a total. What they saw last season, what they saw this season, and I think the fans see what he's making.
But Nick, it's chalk and cheese. This isn't the same team that was playing last season.
It isn't, because Kyle ran the shit out of the ball because he didn't trust Jimmy in key moments.
Right.
When he did trust Jimmy G,
but every time you bring a running back in this season, he goes down for 2 games. And it's such a weird. I think it's just one of them seasons. You either have a good season, you don't have a good season. But if you're not having a good season and all these players are going down, you just got to hold your hands up and say, you know what, let's just not get too hyped up on this. We're a really good team, and just things haven't gone our way this year.
Let's look at the timeline with Jimmy Garoppolo. He comes to San Francisco. He takes over as the starter when Beathard got knocked out of the game. He wins 5 in a row, right? Those 5 games, the offense was a high school level offense. It was simplistic. It was easy. It was designed just for Jimmy to get in and be able to compete. Second year, when he comes in, he tore his ACL. That's when Jimmy had the full offseason. Because remember what they said. He worked with Mike Shanahan when he tore the ACL the whole time, that whole offseason, because that whole season into the offseason, and that's what put him into 2019, right? So now he has the knowledge, and he still wasn't what I think they expected from him. He made throws, yes, but I'm going to take you to a game where everyone is throwing all their money and saying, yes, he could do it. I'm going to say the New Orleans Saints game, okay?
Yeah.
You look at the 3 big plays in that game, and I said this on Nothing But Niners. I'm going to go from the last play all the way into the middle of the game. The George Kittle play, where he broke that tackle and got him into field goal range, and they kicked the field goal and won. That was a 5-yard out. George Kittle made that play. Jimmy took the ball, snapped it, did the fake action, and boom, he just rifled it out, and George Kittle ran right down the field. The touchdown pass to Juszczyk wasn't Jimmy. It was Emmanuel Sanders who threw that ball. The touchdown pass that Emmanuel Sanders caught from Jimmy was 2 to 3 yards underthrown. He had to come back. He fell, got up, and ran. That's how bad the play. That's how good the play design was. It totally took New Orleans out of their game, and he was wide open and still had the ability to fall down, catch the ball, and cross the goal line. So with those 3 plays that I just told you, one of them was one throw to Jimmy and a great play by Emmanuel, and then the other ones were from other players. So another thing is, I remember when they traded for Emmanuel Sanders, right? It was versus the Carolina Panthers. John Lynch slammed his hand on the table and said, I want Emmanuel. If we're going to make this deal to John Elway, I want Emmanuel Sanders in this game. So they made the deal, and he started that week. Jimmy made a throw in that game that you did not see all season prior. Because remember, the 49ers offense sucked before they got Emmanuel Sanders, right? The receivers couldn't get open. Debo had a problem with the playbook, so it was just pretty much Goodwin and Kendrick Bourne. He made, I think it was 3rd and 12, and he threw a ball to Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders was not even there. He threw the ball to a spot, and Emmanuel Sanders was at that spot when the ball when the ball was at that spot. Emmanuel Sanders came flashing right across court and scored a touchdown.
I think Jason Mimosa played a replay of it. That one.
The thing is, in that current play that I just spoke about, Jimmy threw to a spot. Jimmy tries to throw to receivers now for some reason. He's not throwing people open or throwing to a window. That's why I think his number one issue is, and that's why I think Kyle doesn't trust him, because he don't trust himself to make those throws. And I'm not trying to bash Jimmy. I like Jimmy. I got statues of Jimmy. I got signed jerseys by Jimmy. I thought he was going to be the one.
Have you got a Jimmy bobblehead?
Huh?
Have you got the Jimmy bobblehead?
Yes, I do. I got it.
Tony, I'm only playing devil's advocate here, and I know.
No, I know. The all bullshit aside is
it's great to hear the passion from the Niners fans.
I don't think Jimmy's the type of quarterback where they're in a messed up situation where he could throw the team on his shoulders and say, "Guys, I got this. Let's go."
Hey, Tony, how many teams in the NFL though have got that QB that can just throw everybody in their shoulders and say, "I'm going to go and win the game"? It's not all about the QB, guys. We can't just be going, "Oh, it's the QB.
No,
the QB is going to win us the game." No, it's not, mate. It ain't, mate.
A lot of it is.
Yeah, a lot of it
Brady,
is.
Tom Brady will get the ball
I'm not having
with
it.
90 seconds left on the 20-yard line. He did it with New England.
Nick, you're talking about Tom Brady, a guy in a scheme for 20 years and the fucking greatest of all time. You haven't got him. It comes around every 20 fucking years, mate. Oh, sorry. Kids in the room.
Tony, listen, we're going to have to let you go. We really appreciate you coming on. I can see it's all going on and going off over there. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I love you, Tone.
Biden for the win.
Baby.
Have a good one, guys.
Take care, Tony. Good work on the show, brother.
Thank you.
Hey.
It's my man, Tony, from Nothing But Niners, keeping it real.
Nick, I'm only.
And now we get. Sorry, hang on. We are now coming back to regular bullshit programming because Pete's going to start. Listen, we are going to pick some games. So Pete, pipe down. We are going to start.
Oh, what you mean? We're not going to talk about the San Francisco 49ers for the whole fucking show like we always do, for God's sake.
That's because
Mark,
people want to hear about it.
Mark, come on the show, Mark. If you're writing messages, Mark, come on the show, God damn it.
As I always say,
actually, don't come on the show. I'm done with Niners. They can do one. Let me get some bloody Steelers friends on the show.
Mark, I'll send you the link because it is a family fucking show after all. Right. Let's pick some games.
It's broadcastable.
Oh, look. That is another quality hat going on.
Let's talk about a legit team this season. Let's talk about the Steelers playing the Cowboys.
Right, Pete, I need to go to the little boys' room. So I'm going off camera. You can spout your bollocks about the Steelers that no one really gives a shit about. So, Carl, enjoy this. Mark, I'll add you if you want to come in. Send me a message on Twitter. I'll send you the link. I don't care about the Steelers because they're a fraud. They've got a decent defense.
Big Ben
is the game manager.
AFC, which is relevant, and the NFC, which is not relevant.
Yeah, whatever. I'll be back, boys.
By the way, mate, the ladies' room is that away, Nick. But seriously, Carl, I don't know if you've been watching the Steelers. Obviously, every game I watch the Steelers, we have not been good this year. We haven't been we've not been firing all cylinders, and us guys are 7-0. So I would be really interested before I get deep diving into the Steelers to hear someone like you that has been pretty much the best team in the AFC for the last 10, 15, 20 years. How do you see the Steelers this year, mate? Because I could go off on a rant But I'm going to be really interested to hear someone like you. What do you think? How good do you think the Steelers are this year, bro?
Roethlisberger hasn't exactly had the best of seasons. I mean, he's been competent at best. He's not made any silly decisions. He's made key down situations, which we know that he is capable of. I think slinging the ball down the field, I don't think he can really do any more. But defensively, I mean, the Steelers were good defensively to the back end of last year, and coming into this year, I thought, the Steelers are going to be very, very hard to stop, very, very hard to break down on the defensive side of the ball. But there was a few question marks regarding to your offense. Is Juju Smith-Schuster going to be stepping up now to be the number one wide receiver? Looks like that has not been the case. It's been a toss-up between Dante Johnson and your rookie wide receiver you picked out Notre Dame, Chase Claypool, who both have been absolutely outstanding for you. And also with the running game, James Conner didn't exactly have a very good season last year. You could say a sophomore slump, as the Americans prefer to call it, as your second year. But this year, he's actually putting a little bit more muscle, a little bit more weight. And he's actually now starting to make really good runs down the field after contact, which he never used to do. So the Steelers right now being 8-0, there is an asterisk to it. I won't lie. There's an asterisk to it.
But it just makes me.
But at the end of the day, you can only. I said this when New England had, I think it was like the second easiest schedule last year, and everyone was raving about, you're 8-0, you've had such a paper thin schedule. At the end of the day, you can only beat the team that is put in front of you.
Thank you. And as much as people, and especially Nick, has been saying, look, you guys have got the easiest schedule. Okay, we had the second easiest schedule. Second to the Ravens, who have lost 2 games. And you look at the schedule that we've had. We've played the Texans. The Texans were in the playoffs last year and the AFC South champions. We've played the Tennessee Titans. Both teams pretty much could have beat Kansas last year in the playoffs. Those 2 teams are legit. We've beaten the Eagles, which pretty much are the best team in the NFC East. Just gone and beat Cleveland, who went on a massive run, and we made an absolute joke of the Cleveland Browns. We've then gone and beat the Ravens. Yes, we've got an easy schedule, but the session that we've had at the beginning of the season hasn't been easy. We've got the Jags, we've got Washington football team, we've got Dallas coming up. Yes, we've got easy games coming up, but our schedule is easy. But we have beaten good teams.
I ain't got any pom-poms to throw around,
and we are 7-0. So everybody should be freaking scared.
No, because you've had such an easy schedule.
I've just literally said the easy.
I know, I'm listening.
You're not listening. It doesn't matter how easy the schedule is. The Ravens have lost 2 games. It's on the easier schedule. And these are the team that everyone's going, the Ravens are going 16-0. I don't think
no one has said the Ravens now, do you? Seriously. Your team is a fucking fraud. Your defense is carrying. Your defense is carrying. Your defense is carrying this team. Defense will win a championship. It isn't going to be yours. Mark, I've sent you the link if you want to hop on.
Nick, I am not seriously. I've just said to Carl that we haven't actually been that good this season.
You haven't beaten anybody apart from the Ravens.
We've beaten the Ravens. We've beaten the Texans. We've beaten the Eagles. We've beaten the Browns.
The Texans. The Texans are not
the Texans are not last year, and they're the AFC fucking South champions, for God's sake.
You beat the Texans, who are garbage this year. What?
You know what? Just give teams credit where credit is due. We're 7-0, and we are beating.
Mate, I've given you credit. Yes, I've given you credit. Your defense is amazing. Your offense, and Big Ben with his little dink. Right, Pete. Okay, so I've already won a bet off of you, and bearing in mind you're playing. Hang on. Bearing in mind you are playing the shitty Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, let's do this.
How about them Cowboys?
Let's go for another little delicious 20 quid that Ben doesn't throw and a 40-yard pass. Are you up for that?
That's not what we do.
Here we go. Hang on.
Why am I going to tell you that Big Ben's going to throw a 40-yard pass? He's not throwing 40-yard passes. We don't need to throw 40-yard passes.
2 weeks ago, you bet me that he was going to air it out.
And
this defense is worse.
Just for shits and giggles, mate. He ain't going to be throwing it out there. But what Carl was saying earlier on there about, Juju, the number one wide receiver, and this is what I love about our
Hang on
offense.
a minute. Sorry. Hang on. Time out. Very important. Jeff. I can't get it in focus.
I can't get it.
Crystal Palace 3, Leeds 1. Oh, dear.
Sorry, Jeff.
Sorry. Carry on with your rant, Pete.
Right. Well, what I'm trying to say is, yes, as what you were saying there, our defence is doing very, very good. I'm a little bit concerned the fact that Cam Hayward has been injured. He's going to be playing this week by the sounds of it, but I'm slightly concerned about him. Hilton still
didn't he go off the last game with an injury?
At the very end, yeah. But, it sounds like he's been practicing, so he's probably going to be back. So our defensive line, Price and Alualu, he's not going to be playing, I don't believe, this week. So our defense, shut up, you fucking mouth. But our defense is going to be struggling. But fortunately, it's against a team that is pretty much irrelevant. So I still expect us to sort of come through massively.
Okay, all right.
What I'm really enjoying
20 yards in the air. 20 quid. 20 yards in the air.
Carl, what you were saying earlier on about the fact that obviously Juju Smith-Schuster's the number one wide receiver. This is what I'm really liking about our offense this season is you're probably getting coaches and teams that are looking during the week. They're training their cornerbacks and their defense to mark these players. And every week he's going, we've got different weapons. We don't have to go to Juju. We go to Claypool. We go to Johnson. We go to Washington. Even fucking Samuel was getting sort of touches this week. It's crazy that you've got Ray McLeod. You've got I'm not even talking about the tight ends. We have got weapons that play. People aren't even talking about because we don't even need to use them. We're just dinking and dunking, throwing them to players. Juju, Washington, Johnson, Claypool. We are. The Scott.
Time out.
Tell me how good the Pittsburgh Steelers are, brother.
Let me introduce to you the Super Bowl champions and probably back-to-back Super Bowl champions.
Come on.
Steelers are doing nothing.
Come on. If there is a team that I am legit scared of, it is Kansas City. But we're only going to have to play them once to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so that's gonna end up bad. Scott.
Yeah.
Two things. A, how are you? And B, is where is your apprentice this week?
And is Biden fucking president yet?
I'm good. Doing well. I hope you guys are doing okay. My apprentice, I don't know where she's at. She's running around upstairs or something. I think maybe it's breakfast time. So,
okay.
How are you guys doing?
We're having a blast.
Yeah, very good.
I'm pretty vocal today, Scott, because I've had a few beers and
He's been on the hard seltzers, I think.
I'm stealing my missus' cocktails out of the fridge because I want to crack on because Nick's winding me up so much.
You may be drinking all cocktails out of a can, but I've got the best tankard in the fucking world right now.
That's actually quite cool.
Yeah, no, that's nice. I always pictured Pete as a wine cooler guy, so it's not surprising.
Well, Foster's is the same equivalent. So you're quite right.
All of a sudden.
I think I can kick you off at any moment, Scott. Wine cooler.
How's your wine been? How's your week been?
It's been crazy. It's been been good though.
Have you been shouting out to stop that count at the local mall?
Have what? I'm sorry?
Have you been shouting out to stop the count at the local mall? That's all that we're worried about.
Yeah, I don't even know where to go with that. You've got people counting ballots in secret behind locked doors, and it seems like they just keep counting until they get what they need, and I don't know.
talking about that, and we don't want to get too political. Does
Does
this throw into? I know Trump is saying this and Biden, but does that throw the whole democracy process into in America into a bit of shade because of what's been going on, or is it all legit and Trump's just full of shit? I don't know.
There's some things out there that look shady. They, and the big problem is in these cities where you're seeing this is Philadelphia and Detroit. There's long histories of political corruption, and it's just, Trump talked about draining the swamp 4 years ago, and there's a lot of people on both sides that don't have much trust in these career politicians, and it's a mess. And yeah, without getting too political, I don't know where it's going. There's definitely some concerning things with, you look at some of these states, how they changed the rules about mail-in voting and how people can vote, a few months before the election, and they're still counting. And you got these states that said that they're not telling you this or that. But again, there's going to be, in the coming weeks, I think there's going to be more investigations and more things into what's going on. And yeah, do you know
the real thing that, and Pete and I, obviously every morning since the election day, we go into work and Biden's been stuck on 253 and Trump's been on 240, and it's like, fucking hell, has the counter stuck or something? Oh, by the way, Cole, that is some serious hat.
Never have I watched.
I love that hat.
Never have I watched a political debate that pretty much looks like I'm watching the fucking Ryder Cup on Sky Sports. I mean, it's ridiculous.
That's yeah, exactly. Oh, projected to win Europe needs X.
Right.
Yep. Let's get to some picks because we're going to pick some games.
No, hold on a minute. Right. I didn't get Scott's view on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No one wants to talk about Pittsburgh.
Who gives a shit about Pittsburgh?
Hold on a minute. Who is the best team in the NFL right now? If anybody deserves airtime, it's the freaking Steelers. All right.
Let's go by the power rankings. Who's number one in the power rankings, Scott? Talk.
Well, which power ranking?
Bentman's power rankings, mate. It's the freaking Steelers.
Yeah.
I'm sure Pete Bentman.
No, your wine coolers, Pete. Shut your face. That's your number one power ranking. Right. Let's talk some football.
Let's talk some ball, boys.
Right, we're going to go with the 6 o'clock games. We're just going to go around the horn, see who wins, because everyone hangs on our picks. And I know that because a lot of people messaged me afterwards and said,
Nick,
why the hell did you pick them? Right, Giants against the football team.
Nick, before we go moving on, mate, in the Great British Pod Off, you do realise that the Shank Club NFL are joint first.
No, don't ever associate me with that, because when you crash and burn, I then get tagged into all your bloody tweets, and I don't want to be.
Off the Shank Club.
Well, that ain't going to last. Pete, shut up.
Do you not win a trophy for this, or is this just bragging rights?
Well, if I win and there isn't a trophy, I'm going to make a trophy, Carl. Don't you worry.
And so will I, and smash it over his head. Right, Giants, Washington. Pete, who you got?
Oh, mate, Giants are starting to look good, and they actually didn't do too bad against us. I feel sorry for I feel sorry for the Giants. I don't think Washington are legit. I think they're a poor team. I've got no stats or any information to back this up, but I just think the Giants are going to win.
Giants for you, Carl.
Yeah.
I'll let Mr. Rogers go first.
Okay. Mr. Rogers, a.k.a. Scott.
Scott, sorry, beg your pardon.
Either or is fine.
Close. That's close. He's only been on the show like 30 times with you. But apart from that, by the way, this is Scott.
This is Crocodile Dundee.
Down there. Crocodile Dundee. Right, Scott. Giants, Washington. What you got?
Oh man, why are we even picking this one? I mean, I don't know.
It's going to be a close game. Does it
really matter who wins that?
It's Tank Division.
I at this I would probably lean the Giants just because I've seen them a couple times and I haven't watched one Redskins game, and
they're not Redskins. You can't say that. Timeout.
Redskins. You can't be saying
I already tried to ban you this week because of what you did.
Nice one, Carl.
That's not good. Yeah, I already tried to ban you, Scott, because Jason, bless him, it was his birthday, and you're sending him KC memes, and that's not on. Don't let me ban you again.
You said no KC teams. No, okay. I'm going to pick the Giants just because I haven't watched Washington all year, and I've watched the Giants.
Yeah.
And the Giants, they didn't do too bad against the Buccaneers there for a decent part of that game.
Their defense,
and
if Martinez is in, their defense with Martinez is quite stout.
So I would pick the Giants.
I agree. Yeah, I agree, Giants. Pete, he's getting probably a wine cooler, so I don't know. Well, he won't know what to think. Bears, Titans. It's quite.
Hang on, you haven't chosen me yet. You've missed me out.
Oh, sorry, Carl. Go on then. Who are you picking?
I'm taking Washington.
I think you're going to lone wolf.
I'm going to give you one reason why. The Giants have just come off Monday Night Football, so they're on a short week. The Washington football team have just come off a bye. They'll be well rested, well prepared. It'll be a close game, but Washington will beat the Giants.
Rumor has it as well with Washington that Alex Smith is on the cusp of being the starter. Does that change your opinion if it doesn't go well after a quarter? Would you say that? You're still going with Washington? I'm
still going with Washington. I would rather have Alex Smith over Danny Derps any day.
Yeah, so would I. So don't get me wrong, and I love 11. Pete, there is a lone wolf situation. You didn't hear what was going on, but
pissed off. Surely all three of you didn't choose the Skins. Sorry, Washington.
No, they chose the Giants. You three chose the Giants. I chose.
Did you? So Pete's already gone with the Giants.
Yeah, I've gone with the G-men, mate. Right. I love the G-men. Driving the old coach down to Saquon Barkley's house with the big W.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
Carl, with that soppy hat on, you are the lone wolf.
It's the Cowboys hat. Oh!
There you go. Right.
I can't believe someone chose the Washington football team.
Just to clarify something, okay, to make sure I don't get copyright on my YouTube channel, when we do our picks for our games, I don't choose a lone wolf. I've got a teddy here known as a lone dash hound.
Yeah, trust me. NFL Network aren't watching this shit.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we're safe.
I think we're safe with that, Pete, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I think we're safe as well. I still keep getting notified.
Scott, Bears, Titans.
The Titans in that game. The Bears, I don't know why teams can't seem to put them away. They have a fairly solid defense, and I guess that's what keeps them in these games. And I think they're 5-3 now. But the Titans, they had a bad loss, right, to the Bengals. Is that right? They lost
Bengals.
last week.
Yeah.
The Bengals.
And Joe Burrow's lit it up.
And they played the Steelers right to the end the week before. So I don't know what you're getting there.
The Steelers put them on tilt.
But, I mean, I'll take Ryan Tannehill over Nick Foles. I'll take Derrick Henry over David Montgomery. I'll take most of their playmakers over any of the Bears playmakers any day, and I'll go to the Titans.
This is the thing with me, right? I still think the Bears' record isn't a correct thing of how they are because they're no better. They are no better with Foles.
Claire the Bear is going to come and kick your ass, mate.
Whatever. They are no better with Foles.
Claire the Bear, get on the show, represent.
They are no better with Foles than they were with Trubisky. They've won.
Yeah, I agree.
And Christ knows how they've won. I don't get it. I'm going Titans. I think Derrick Henry's going to come back. As you say, Scott, you're going to take Tannehill over Foles. So for me, yeah, I can't see the Bears winning this one. Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of feel sorry for Robinson at the Bears because I think that guy is one of the best wide receivers there is. But just before we carry on, my buddy Jason Whittle over in Pennsylvania. Jace, get down the fucking counting hall and get them bloody election votes counted. Don't be watching us. Get the votes counted, mate. Get down to Pennsylvania.
In fact, Jason, get your email over to Pete and we'll invite you on.
Jace, come on the show.
Jason,
I want to get Jason. He's probably shooting raccoons in the woods somewhere. He's probably not got time to come on.
Either that or well, I won't say anything about Big Ten and other stuff.
You carry on. I'll see if I can get Jason's email and get him on. But yeah, I mean, I think Robinson is one of the best wide receivers in the league, and it's a shame that he's over at the Bears. But as much as we've put them on tilt and they lost to the Bengals, I think Tennessee get back on track and Tennessee beat the Bears.
It's interesting what you say about Robinson, because you do get players in positions that are wasted on teams that they're never going to kind of do anything with. And I think, because wasn't Robinson, is that the same Rob that was with the Jags, or am I confused?
No, that's it was a different Robinson. No, Robinson's running back.
James Robinson.
James Robinson for the Jags. He's a running back.
Right. Okay, sorry. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Carl?
Tennessee. I think they've had a loss against Cincinnati, but Mike Vrabel will drill it into them this week. I think Chicago right now, their offensive line is just absolutely decimated. And to make matters worse, one of their main starting tackles has now gone down with COVID. So I don't know who the fucking hell's going to protect Nick Foles now, or Mitchell Trubisky, or whoever the hell.
Call me. Send me the playbook. I'll fly out. It's not a problem. I can stand there going like that and just go, oh, fuck it. Go past me. I don't care.
Mate, you might be a lump, but you won't be protecting Nick Foles, I'm telling you now.
Actually, I just go through, because the funny thing is about Nick Foles and all of this situation is they put a statue up of him outside Philadelphia, and then, which is the most bizarre thing ever, I think, in the history of the NFL.
My buddy Jason Whittle has got a field hockey tournament because his whole family are freaking Olympic fucking champions when it comes to field hockey.
Jason, if you're watching, Jason, if you're watching, and I know you will be, any excuse, anytime you want to come on, we'll do a show, right? That's fine.
Scott, by the way, this is the reason, Jason Whittle, this is the dude that we were hanging out in St. Lucia in a hot tub and we got drunk one day, and he said, Pete, you got to become a Steelers fan. Jason Whittle is the reason I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
But basically it was like, let's have a few wine coolers. And he
went, I'm pretty sure
Here, Pete.
There was
redneck. And he was like, okay.
There was definitely a few beers going on in a hot tub, and a late night session, shall we say, out in the middle of the Caribbean Ocean, which we won't talk any more about, but me and Jace had a good time.
You were both skinny dipping and everyone else was horrified. That's hey-ho.
Oh, right, they definitely would have been horrified seeing me.
Did we all pick this game? I can't remember.
Tennessee.
Right, so that's a clean sweep. Okay. I'm going to show some love to Scott. Panthers Chiefs, CMC, run CMC returning. What are you thinking, Scott?
I think there's a lot of fantasy football managers that are extremely happy this week that CMC is coming back. More so than I think there are Panthers fans that will be as happy after the game is over. I just don't see it. You got Patrick Mahomes against Teddy Bridgewater. I'll take that all day. I'm going to pick the Chiefs, fairly comfortable at home going into the bye week.
How has Le'Veon Bell done, Scott? What's been happening with him?
Well, he came in the first game and he had some good carries and he had a couple runs that were 10, 15 yards. But then this last game, he had 6 carries for 7 yards, I think. They didn't really use them a whole lot against the Jets. They exposed the Jets secondary, and Patrick Mahomes just threw the ball all over the football field. So it'll be interesting to see. I think they brought him in as kind of a change of pace guy. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's a rookie, and you always hear about the rookie wall. There's more games in the NFL than there is in college, and obviously the physicality is increased and much greater in the NFL than in college. So I think you're just going to see him get worked in more and more. And going back to Pete's Steelers here, they're putting the pressure on the Chiefs to keep winning. They got to keep chasing that 1 seed is the only team that gets the bye week this year. And if you go through,
you telling me you're chasing the Steelers there? Tell me more.
Scott, please don't give him any more.
I wish I.
You damn straight you chasing the Steelers.
Here we go. Look, the seltzers are kicking in.
They slacked off and they lost that game to the Raiders, and now they're in second in the AFC and they're chasing. And
that's actually a very good point because they shouldn't have lost that game. I think they took it far too easily. And is it going to down the road? Is it going to kick them in the arse? Do you think?
Lest we forget that Justin Herbert in his first game almost kicked ass against the Chiefs. The Chiefs ain't shit, yo.
You can't put Herbert in again. You can't put Herbert in against the Chiefs because it was only 20 points each when they went into overtime. So it wasn't like it was like 40, 50 points either way.
I'm done with the Chiefs.
That was a good offensive game by
Scott. It's coming.
I'm done with the
Get
Chiefs.
ready.
I'm done with the Chiefs. The fact that the Texans should have beat him, the Tennessee should have beat him, the Niners should have beat him. KC ain't winning shit this year. I'm telling you.
You done?
He does take PayPal if you want to bet with him, Scott. By the way, if you want to bet with this man, he does take PayPal. Whatever thing. Seriously, he needs to be brought down.
The only thing I will say regarding the Chiefs is do not lose the return leg against the Raiders because they've got one up on you already. If you get swept by the Raiders, you better make sure you keep on winning your main games because that could come to bite you on the backside and no home field advantage either.
Yeah, Kansas City gets the Raiders at home not at home. They get them after the bye week, and you could just tell that loss really chapped the players' rear ends, I guess you could say. And so I think you're going to see a pretty dominant performance from Kansas City. And when it comes to the Chiefs and the Steelers, the only common opponent I know of is the Ravens, right? That's the only teams that the Steelers and the Chiefs have played in common. And Chiefs pretty much embarrassed the Ravens, and the Ravens just about beat Pittsburgh on the last second. What was it? They were at the goal line on 4th down.
Talk your shit, Scott. Talk your shit. Give it to him.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, and when we get to the playoffs, that's when the money's made.
That's when it happens.
Scott, I will see you in the AFC Championship game at Heinz Field, my man.
Patrick Mahomes versus Ben Roethlisberger.
It's the only. To be fair, it's the only team I can. It is the only team I can take seriously because no one else is a contender to the Steelers right now.
Are we all going to take the Chiefs in this game?
What, against the Panthers? Oh, I don't know. I mean, Teddy and
Christ. Trust him to be. The lone wolf is coming.
No, I'm taking.
I'll say this right now regarding to Christian McCaffrey. Yes, it looks like he is scheduled to play tomorrow. Looks like that's a fact. But according to reports from Mike Krall, the head coach of Carolina, he's turned around and said that Mark Davis, running back, that was in place for Christian McCaffrey when he went down injured. He's actually carved out a role now. Do not expect Christian McCaffrey to all of a sudden become the bell cow and do what he did from previous years.
That's very true, but he could.
They will steadily bring it back in.
Yeah, of course. He can motion out of the backfield.
Can't replace the MC.
Right.
If you're the Panthers coach and you're playing Mike Davis over Christian McCaffrey on any plays when he's healthy, you're crazy.
Sack him.
Mate, I've got to give big respect to the Panthers because I never saw the Panthers doing as well as what they've done. So I've got a lot of respect for the Panthers and what Teddy B is doing there. But unfortunately, I think coming up against KC, you don't.
Hang on a minute. They're 3-5.
Yeah, I didn't even have them going that, to be fair.
I had them at 5-11 for the season.
So they're on par to be that.
Well, looks like I got that. It looks like I got that, and the Atlanta Falcons fucking mixed up.
As much as we'd love to talk about the Texans Jaguars, fuck that shit. We ain't talking about fucking nothing. Sorry, Jaguars and Texans fans.
So we all went for Kansas then, did we?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm going. I'm going Chiefs. I'm going Chiefs.
This is going to be quite interesting.
There's a lot of games this week that could go either way. I'm not saying that's one of them, but I'm also saying that could be one of them.
I think the next couple we're going to talk about are quite interesting, and they're going to be coin flips.
Oh, and by the way, Nick, my buddy Jason said that when you want to talk about decent football and not pussy West Coast football, then you can fucking invite Jason onto the show, and he'll tell you about decent football, not pussy West Coast football.
Game manager being carried by the defense, going to get found out by KC, and I'm going to fucking have it all with you lot. But anyway,
West Coast pussies.
Ravens, Colts. Now, this is an interesting game. Ravens coming off that loss last week. Lamar wasn't effective. Colts have got a pretty decent defense. Phil Rivers is like Phil Rivers from 15 years ago. What are we saying? Ravens. Trust me, you don't think Philip Rivers is chucking it all over the place.
Sorry, let me just get my kidneys off the floor. Hang on.
Lest we forget,
I forgot.
Lest we forget that Philip Rivers, Eli Manning, and Ben Roethlisberger all came out of the same draft class, and who was looking class.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Rivers.
Sorry. Oh yeah. So Philip Rivers can still throw the ball 30 yards in the air.
Sorry, who's 7-0 this season?
Big Ben throws it 5 yards and it goes 30, and everyone's like, "Fucking hell, Big Ben, he's the god." It's off. Carl, Ravens, Colts. Who you got?
Ravens.
Really? Against
Ravens.
Colts defense, really?
Ravens. Lamar Jackson is 12-1. Lamar Jackson is 12-1 on the road.
You don't think he's going to hang over from last week and playing very poorly?
No. No,
okay.
No, definitely.
Fair enough. That's quite equivalent.
Don't get me wrong about the Colts. They have got one of the best offensive lines in the game. They've actually got quite a stout defense as well. But they've got the same problem. They've got the same problem as what they had last year. The quarterback situation. I don't trust Philip Rivers. He was done. He was dead. His goose was cooked when he was at the Chargers. And he should have just retired and had another 10th child, for goodness sake. That's basically.
Can I give you a little stat, right?
Go on.
In fact, before we pick the game, let's go round the horn very quickly. What do you think the Colts' record is at home against Baltimore all time? Without Googling, Pete.
Isn't it the same team?
Colts at home versus the Ravens. What is their record?
It's the same team, isn't it?
Without
Baltimore Colts, Indianapolis Colts, the same fucking team. I don't give a shit about either of them.
Whatever. Scott. Such a dick. Scott, what do you think the record is with the Colts versus the Ravens at home?
Could you tell me how many games they've played?
Well, I'm going on what I've seen, but let's say the last 7 games.
The last 7 games? I'm guessing since you're asking, it's something like 5-2.
Talking about
the Colts.
Talking about 2 seasons with Lamar Jackson and about 7 seasons with Peyton Manning at QB. I mean, come on, seriously? Are you really giving that stat?
Excuse me, Peyton Manning hasn't played in a long time.
I'm pretty sure that he's probably involved in some of them stats.
No, he isn't. Shut up. Carl, what do you reckon? And if he gets this right, he's Googled it. I know. Look, he's got that Google. He's got that Google.
Joe Flacco against Peyton Manning.
I'm constantly thinking.
Joe Flacco v. Peyton Manning.
Carl has Googled it because he's giving
I haven't Googled it.
Who cares?
I haven't Googled it. I think
it's important to this game. Shut up.
It's not important.
It is. What do you reckon?
Peyton Manning was in charge of the Colts, so we obviously won games against the Ravens during that
in about 2010. That's
in about 20. tried to say about 10 years ago. I'm going to say, I don't know.
When the Colts are beating New England Patriots, you must remember that, Carl.
Go fuck yourself.
You're such a dick. Fuck off.
I think Colts have won them. I think Colts have won it. I don't know. I think they may. I don't know. 7 games. I think Colts may have won 7 games. I don't know.
He's obviously Googled it and now trying
to. Oh, please tell me he's nailed it.
I haven't.
No, he hasn't. Indianapolis are 6-0 at home against the Ravens, and that goes a long way.
Nick, do you know why Lamar Jackson had a poor game last week? Lamar Jackson had a poor game last week because the Steelers, do you realise that the Baltimore Ravens threw over, I think it's like 235 rushing yards against them. All we were doing were concentrating on Lamar Jackson. Because Lamar Jackson is a legit QB. That's why he had a poor week last week. It's nothing to do with him being Lamar Jackson. All we did was concentrated on Lamar Jackson. That is why they put up about 235 rushing yards against, because we wanted to make sure we shut him down. We didn't care what we gave up on the ground to the other players. And that's the difference. I don't think the Colts have got the rushing defense or even the mentality to shut him down. Baltimore are the best team we've played all year, and they are easily better than the Colts. The Ravens win this easily, mate. I'm telling you.
Okay, fine. So you got the Ravens, Carl. Ravens, you said, right?
I'm taking Baltimore. They'll bounce back.
Scott.
I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I don't. The Colts got a nice little defense, and Phillip Rivers looks like himself from 10 years ago, but that means he throws a bunch of yards and touchdowns and then makes crucial mistakes at the absolute worst part of the game and costs the team the game. I mean, I watched it for 10 years or longer, however long he's been in the league, playing him against the Chiefs. I think the Ravens are going to be pissed that they lost this last game. And they've run roughshod off of over every other team in the NFL the last couple of years, not named the Steelers or the Chiefs. So I'm going to pick the Ravens, but I would not be shocked if the Colts were able to pull it out. I mean, like, they do have somewhat decent defense, and it's at home, but I think you got to go with the Ravens.
If they do it,
can I just say one thing going forward, right? We all need to go on Amazon and find the shittest lone wolf hat we can find so we can lone wolf these shows. Because it's missing, and we can pretend we're throwing the lone wolf hat.
I ain't being funny.
I'm going to be a lone wolf.
I'm pretty sure that you've got some sort of grey wolf on your head already, mate, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I better looking than that than Simba from The Lion King. I am going to go Colts in this. I think they'll somehow pull it out, and
you're a sucker for the Colts only because
we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, me on my own. Next game. Now, this is quite an important game for a lot of reasons. Seahawks at the Bills. What say you, Pete?
It's tough. I mean, after the first 3-4 weeks, everybody was saying that the Bills are unbelievable and Josh Allen is an MVP candidate, and all of a sudden they've had a bump down to earth. And I don't think the Bills are exactly what everybody sort of thought they were the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. I also don't think Seahawks, very much similar to the Chicago Bears, don't deserve to sort of be where they are, sitting pretty in the division either. So this, for me, was a massive coin flip. And on what I was talking about earlier on, the Great British Pod-Off, I was going to go with the Bills because I just kind of felt that you could see an upset here. But unfortunately, I don't trust the Bills now. I don't think they're as good as what I thought they were at the beginning of the season. I think Metcalf is looking like an absolute beast at Seattle. I don't know if Jamal Adams is fit and he's playing at the Seahawks at the minute, but I think he makes a difference to them. I think Russell Wilson throwing the ball makes a huge difference. I just don't think the Bills are as good as the Seahawks. I think I'm right in thinking it's in New York. Am I right, Nick? Is it in New York?
It's at Buffalo with that incredible phenomenon that they
so it's in Orchard Park. So
Lake Snow or whatever it's called. Effect
so
Lake
you know,
Snow.
I appreciate sometimes West Coast going to East Coast is a bit of an issue, but I don't think they warrant being where they are, Seattle, but I still think they just edge out the Bills, even though Bills have home advantage. So just for the sake of them pushing another game ahead of the Niners, I'm going for the Seahawks.
That's very interesting you say that, and I'll give my take. Obviously, the Seahawks waxed the 49ers. And Metcalf went off, and, no-name running backs all of a sudden appeared, and they were really, really good, and that's down to scheme. I don't think Metcalf goes off in this game. I think they're going to look to Lockett maybe, because Pete Carroll will target those two, and you can't stop them because they're very, very good wide receivers. Do the Bills, or can the Bills stop that? I don't think so. Josh Allen's up and down. Who knows what he's going to do? I want to say the Bills because I hate the Seahawks, but I can't.
You say this all the time, but you always pick the Seahawks.
But I can't. No, I can't go against the Seahawks because they are a very good team. Like Tony said a long time ago on this show, and I don't think Russell will ever get injured, bless him, but if he did, the Seahawks are fucked.
Yeah.
All the time he's in there, they've got a chance. So I'm going Seahawks. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, the Seahawks are, I think, the better team, and by a fair margin. Pete kind of talked about after the first 3 or 4 weeks, everybody was in love with Josh Allen and the Bills, but that's come back down to earth a bit. His play's been erratic, kind of more of what we'd seen out of his first season in the NFL. He's kind of regressed back to the mean, I guess you could say. And Seahawks, they are.
We'll see.
The Seahawks, they're just.
Nice one, Whittle.
I would say it, and here's the thing: I would say the Seahawks by a lot, but you just can't pick them to win by a lot in most games, or really any games with that defense. The defense is just atrocious, and I know they won by a lot against the Niners, but the Niners, I mean, they've got COVID now, and then all the injuries. That's just not the 49ers team that.
Can you please stop giving the 49ers love, Scott? I don't like it. It doesn't.
I'm not giving them love. That's just the facts. I mean, come on, man. Like,
I know. Yeah, they. It's like we were saying before.
Coaches are
before
never
you hopped on
or injury because that's their job, and they can't make excuses for their players to not perform. But the reality of the situation is when you have as many injuries and then you have COVID issues and you have the situation what they've been going through, that's an outlier. And that, that's not the 49ers team that they plan on having at the beginning of the year, or that even played pretty well at the beginning of the year. So outside of that game, their defense just has not been able to stop anybody. So I think the Seahawks win. I think it's closer than it should be. But I definitely go with the Seahawks.
Okay. So we got no lone wolves. We're all going the Sea Chickens, right? Carl, what do you say?
We haven't heard from Carl yet.
Just piggybacking off Scott, he's 100% right about Josh Allen, how he's all of a sudden dropped off. His passer rating in the first 4 games were before, now he was 122. His last 4 games where they've gone 2-2 has dropped to 79.
But sorry, Carl, is that because of who? And I haven't followed them, so I don't know. Is that because of who they've played?
Yeah.
Or is it because it's got tougher?
It's because who they played, and as it's got tougher. They lost to the Chiefs, and they lost to who else did they lose to? I can't remember who it was now. But anyway, their schedule at the first 4 games has been piece of piss.
Stop.
But now they've now lost to 2. They've now lost to 2 competitive teams now. Oh, that was it, Tennessee. They've lost to Tennessee, who is definitely going to be a playoff contender. They've lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, who are the reigning champions for a reason. If they don't beat Seattle, if they do not beat Seattle this weekend, I don't believe that the Bills will go any further and say maybe a wild card win. If they win a wild card win, because it seems like they've had an easy schedule so far. And now they're going to run into quite a few hard opponents. The thing is, though, talking of Pete when he said that Seattle have got to go from West Coast to East Coast, they're actually 9-0. when they're playing the East Coast. They're 9-0. They're playing the East Coast under Pete Carroll. So I think Seattle. I think Seattle will win this.
But
the only
to be
problem,
fair, the East
the only,
Coast has pretty much sucked apart from the Patriots over the last few years.
the only problem with Seattle is obviously Chris Carson is out, which is a bastard for me because I now don't have my best running back in fantasy. Sorry, second best running back in fantasy.
They're not running the ball.
Sorry, no. So yeah, I'm taking Seattle over the Bills, not because of the AFC East, but just talking of the matchup alone.
It could be interesting because you've got two teams that are going to throw the ball and you've got two teams that are going to rely on defense. And if you're going to throw the ball, you back Wilson. If you're going to look at defense, you're going to back the Bills. It's an interesting game.
I think the Bills' defense has plummeted the last 3 games or so.
It has plummeted, but it's still better than the Seattle D.
Then we expect a shootout then.
Absolutely.
It's going to be. It's going to have to be a
shootout. You back Russell Wilson, which is why I think we're all back in Seattle.
Yeah,
I don't want to. I really don't want to.
I love it. You're back in Seattle.
If Seattle the better team, you've got to go with the better team, and it pains me. I mean, I'd love to see the Bills wax them.
You're pathetic. Just for the show, I would back the Bills. If I was a Niners fan, I would back the Bills on this game. And the fact that you're backing Seattle, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, right,
if there is money on the line, you don't bet the underdog.
No wonder you're fucking in a garage.
Says Pete, whose fucking wife hates him and tried to trade him. She's not home yet. Oh yeah, because you made her. Sorry, you made your wife, the love of your life, walk home an hour in this freezing cold weather, and then she'll come on.
It's a lovely
come in.
What are you talking about?
And she'll say, "Where's all my wine coolers?" And you'll say, "Oh fuck it, sorry, love, I've drunken." You're a fucking right.
To be fair, I do.
Shut up.
Mojitos now.
Yeah, exactly.
Next game.
Right. Broncos, Falcons. Oh, and Albert O, Pete, did score a touchdown last week.
Albert Okwuegbunam. That's how you pronounce his name. It's not fucking difficult.
You do. It is Albert O.
Albert Okwuegbunam.
When he was at Mizzou, we couldn't pronounce it, so we're sticking with Albert O.
We ain't even starting now. Right.
And getting on to Mizzou, our boy Cale Garrett. Fingers crossed.
Have you not had a reply back yet? Do you know if he's signed?
Fingers crossed. He might sneak in at Las Vegas Raiders.
That'll be cool. Mark, I have replied to your message. I've sent you the link again, so hopefully you'll get it. So what we saying? Broncos, Falcons. Basement battle, not looking good. 3-4 Broncos, 2-6 Falcons. What do we think is going to happen in this one, Carl?
Atlanta Falcons going to choke another 21-point lead and blow it with no touchdowns.
Not that you're a hater or anything.
No, I'm just talking facts. They blow 3 leads. They blow 3 leads.
But do you think the Broncos can come back with that amount? That's
what did they do last week against the Chargers?
They came back.
But it wasn't that far, right?
Doesn't matter. They still choked away a 21-point lead.
Right, calm down, dear. I'm asking you a question. Jesus. So you're saying then, what's your take on it?
You can't. I mean, coming back against the Chargers, I mean, that's just what everybody does. So I don't know how much you can read into that.
The thing is, though, Scott, is at week 14, the Chargers play the Falcons. We class that the ultimate choke bowl. So
I'm sorry, you
someone
can't
has to win that.
Crystal Palace 4.
We should do a live stream the watch thing again that week when those two in that game is going on. That would be hilarious. Jeez, Chargers, Falcons. No, I pick the Falcons. I just don't see it. Matt Ryan over Drew Lock.
Nick, where is this game? Is it in a dome or is it out at Mile High?
No, it's out. I think it's outdoors.
It's in the
I could be
dome.
wrong.
It's at the
It's
it's at the dome.
It's in the
That
dome.
makes a big difference.
And I just keep thinking the Falcons can't keep choking these leads away. At some point, they're gonna start winning these games, and they won against the Panthers. They made a play.
Oh, wow.
Game, which
Wow.
I agree. I'm not saying that
Wow.
they're going to the playoffs.
They also beat.
Sarcasm.
They also beat.
But they held
They
on to
also
a
beat.
lead at the end of the game
Carl
and
hasn't.
won. Which
Oh,
they
what
hadn't
did
been
he
able to
do?
all
What do they
year.
want? A fucking participating trophy for it? They also beat the Vikings as well, minus Dalvin Cook. If Dalvin Cook had played, they would have fucking put them in the ground.
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to the playoffs, but I think that they can beat the Broncos. So that's and I hate the Broncos. I'm going to pick against them every chance I get. So
I'm going with Drew Lock and the Broncos because it's the Broncos. I love Drew Lock. He's got Albert O. He's my boy. The end. Pete?
No, I've got too many Falcons friends to back against the Falcons this week. One of them massively
No,
bailed
excuse me. What you mean is you're not going against Rachel. That's what you mean. Don't bullshit.
In my 5 minutes of need, he helped me out telling me that the Steelers are 7-0 while the Everton were losing. So, in respect to that, and I actually do think that the Falcons are way better than what they deserve to be. Their offense is class. They've got a great QB. They've got a decent running game. They've got amazing wide receivers. And they should be doing way better than what they are. And I don't think the Broncos are all that. I still think they've got rookie wide receivers. I don't think Drew Lock is quite there just yet. And the fact that it's in a dome, I genuinely think that it will probably be the normal. It will probably be the Falcons going out to a big lead and the Broncos sneaking them back. And then the Falcons just sneaking it at the end. But I'm going with the Falcons. And this is also my last game as well. Because my gorgeous wife is home and I'm going to spend the rest of the afternoon with her and not you, Nick, I'm afraid.
You weren't saying that earlier, and I bet you ain't got this on speaker, Pete. Get Lou on. Get Lou on to say hello. Come on, get her on.
She won't be coming on the show for sure.
Well, I wish you had.
You know what? If Lou did come on the show, she'd be saying Steelers 7-0. Fucking
no, she wouldn't. She'll say, I don't understand American football, and I don't understand why Pete still gets these shitty shirts.
Scott, thanks for coming on today, bro.
Carl, good to see you again, Pete. Take it easy, man.
Talking ball. Nick.
Pete, I would say it's been a pleasure, but you're full of shit. Get off. In fact, I'm going to kick you off because I can. Goodbye. There you go. The weakest link is gone.
I'll pick the Falcons to beat Denver. I think the dome will help them along the ways, but do not be surprised if I go back on Twitter and put out another 45-second video of me laughing my face off of the Falcons choking away another lead again. So yeah, I will take Atlanta to win this game. What's happened?
Did Nick freeze up on us? It looks like
as Nick frozen up.
It looks like he has. How's your fantasy team look this week?
6-2 at the minute. I'm sitting second place, but I had a really good start this week. Devontae Adams picked me up about 23.5 points. So yeah, solid start for me. The problem is though, my opponent has decided to be really crafty. He's managed to get a trade to bring in Michael Thomas. And I was like, oh, fucking no. His lineup consists of this. Deshaun Watson at quarterback, James Conner, James Robinson at running back, Brandon Cook, Marquise Brown at receiver, Evan Ingram at tight end, Clyde Edwards-Helaire as his flex, Younghoe Koo as his kicker, and the Chiefs defense. So I'm slightly worried. Let's just put it that way. Although his projections just dropped to 4 points, so something's happened.
Yeah, those things fluctuate like crazy. So, yeah, I'm playing Aaron Rodgers this week in my league against Aaron Rodgers, I should say, who started off with 40. But I'm still projected to win by quite a bit. I've got a pretty salty squad. I've got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and Alvin Kamara. So I got a pretty solid core. I actually tried to get a trade for Adams kind of for the home stretch here. Just the dude wanted ridiculous.
This is interesting. An interesting call. I've just seen, because my projection was, Richard, I was only supposed to win by 1.5 points. I'm now projected to win by over 4.5. And I've scrolled down to find out, what has he actually done? He's actually took Michael Thomas out and put Marquise Brown in. Wow. Okay, that's interesting then, because it means he has got no late night players to play, and I've got Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, so, there's something going on with Michael Thomas. I don't know. They keep saying it's injury, but he had this situation where he punched the teammate, and he's been.
It's not been the same since. It's not been the same since.
I mean, yeah, and he hasn't even played since, I don't think. And he had that injury at the beginning of the year, and I've heard rumors that maybe they're trying to trade him, and that he's.
Well, it's too late. Well, it's too late now. They can't trade him now because the deadline's done. So maybe in the off season, but there's so much dead cap on them though. It's like 21 million, I think, is the dead cap off Thomas. So
there's something more going on with him other than what they're saying. It looks like, and so I couldn't trust him at all to go back in. Well, I don't know if we've lost Nick. I don't know if we just call it a show or what we do.
We have lost him, but the stream is still going. So I honestly don't know what to do now. I'm sure if he's got an editing program, he could just edit a bit out and then just add like a little screenshot to say thank you for joining and all this, that, and the other. Let me just message him and find out what the hell's going on, because I don't think he hasn't responded. What's happened? You frozen up? Let's see if he responds. Oh.
He kicked Pete out. I wonder if that messed something up with him.
Yeah.
Or I wonder if Pete booted him out, maybe, or something.
I don't think Pete's booted him out. I think it's Nick's booted Pete out. But, no, I don't know. I don't know what to do now. Yeah, well, seems like everyone.
Guess we can just sign off.
Yeah, we'll sign off now.
Take care.
Take care.
Well over there.
Yeah,
Nick,
you too, Scott.
Going. Nick, good luck in your. Oh, wait a minute. Here he comes.
Oh, hello. He's back. Back again.
What? Died. Fuck.
We were getting ready to abandon ship.
I know. I'm now on a hotspot, so fuck knows. What did I miss? What did I miss?
Nothing really. We just talked some fantasy football, which I'm sure everybody finds.
Yeah, because everyone loves fantasy.
Interesting.
So what game are we picking when I?
Well, I chose Atlanta, so
I think we were finishing up the Atlanta game.
Yeah, well, I'm still going Broncos. Scott, what did you go?
Falcons.
So it's a lone wolf, Carl.
Oh!
There you go. Right, we're going to have to keep this short because this is going to cost me a fucking fortune. Raiders, Chargers, quickly. Raiders, Chargers, Carl.
The Raiders.
Scott?
I will never pick the Raiders to win anything. So I'm picking the Chargers.
Chargers for me. I love Justin Herbert.
Fuck's sake.
Carl, go for it.
Oh!
Steelers, Cowboys, fuck that. We ain't even bothering with.
Cowboys.
Dolphins. Yeah. I think we'll all be lone wolves. How about them Cowboys?
Cowboys.
Dolphins, Cards.
Ooh.
Tough one.
That's a 50-50 game.
But you say that, and I saw reports this week that the Dolphins are all ready to move on from Tua.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I've you picked him up because you just want to evaluate him. That just doesn't make any sense.
a lot of, I mean, you can go back. There's a lot of busts, right, in the QB position. Can you evaluate that after one game? And he did nothing in that game. Let's be honest. He didn't.
No, not really. No, not really.
Can you evaluate that? Why did they switch? Why didn't they stay with Fitzmagic, who was on a roll?
I don't.
You could have put him in garbage time.
I hadn't heard that too. I hadn't heard that they were interested in moving on from him.
Yeah, they're already looking to draft a QB in the first round next year.
And the reason being why is because they've got the Texans' first round pick, which will sit at which will be the 4th overall. Now I don't know if you'll get Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields with that. You may be Justin Fields.
You won't get Trevor Lawrence.
But you've also got
Trevor Lawrence ain't going that far down.
Trevor Lawrence will refuse to go to the Jets. He'll do a Manning and say, "Nope, not going to that shithole."
I don't know. Can you blame him? Can you do that with the players union these days?
I think you still can.
Actually, that's a good point. Can you still say, "Fuck this, I'm not going there"?
I mean, I think the rule saying you can't, but I'm just saying I think they would lean pretty heavily. The union would encourage you very strongly to go to the team that drafted you.
Trevor Lawrence, I believe he'll have one or two choices. Either we'll go to the draft and end up going to the Jets, which is until Adam Gase is gone there. I don't think the Jets are going to be going anywhere anytime soon.
Do you think
or the other option he's got is to stay for his final year at college?
Do you think Gase is going to get binned?
He's got to at some point. He's got to.
Not. Do you think? Would you put your hand on your heart and say the Jets are a fucking dumpster fire?
Yes.
Get rid of it. But weird things happen, right? Because you've got the Giants who are dog shit. And I know it's a different situation. They're not going to get rid of Joe Judge, right?
Joe Judge is actually doing... No, I'll say this on the Giants.
No, he is doing a good job. I agree. Yeah. Before you say it, I agree that. But Gase should have been fired before the Atlanta Falcons coach. Why hasn't that happened?
Well, I think you saw with the Falcons when they fired their coach, they won a couple of games. And you see this with the Texans. They've won a couple of games now, and the team plays inspired. If you want to get Trevor Lawrence and you want to get the number 1 overall pick, you keep Adam Gase, you go 0-16, and then you fire him after the season.
I can see that. That's what
I would do if I was the general manager.
And that is a big tank for Trevor scenario.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, why would you risk getting rid of the coach and bringing in an interim who's even mildly better and inspiring your team to do a couple wins?
If you're a New York Jets player, either making minimum or you're on a very good contract, would you not go, why the fuck am I playing for this team? Because all they want to do is tank for this geezer, right? So,
I guess you're playing.
Do you think most players are just like, I'm getting a million, I'm getting 800,000, I'm getting 200,000? We'll just go through it and just see what happens. And there's no saying that they'll be better with Trevor Lawrence. There isn't.
No, because there isn't. You don't know.
Becton came in and he was going to be the player that protected Sam Darnold. And he's been banged up and thrown out when he's injured and shouldn't be back in. I mean, the Jets just seem like a real fuck up at the moment. To me.
They have been for some time. They have been for...
No, but this year... And maybe last year, they've been a major screw up. Sam Darnold is not a bad QB. Yes, he can throw picks. Yes, he makes the wrong decisions. But like Danny Dimes, you're running for your life.
Yeah. And there's a difference between being decent and being that next tier up that you have to win. I mean, Sam Darnold's not a terrible quarterback, but he's also not a Russell Wilson or a Patrick Mahomes or an Aaron Rodgers. And if you want to win in the league, that's what you got to have. I mean, it's a QB-driven league. That's
what they said coming out of college, that Sam Darnold can be really, really good, really, really bad, and he is a bit of a turnover machine coming out of college.
And that's what he's been with the Jets, really.
Yeah,
but you look at the Jets' offense. The O-line is, as you said, totally banged up. And who has he got to throw to? Name one apart from the only two receivers I can know of is Jamison Crowder and Denzel Mims,
who have both been pretty much out for the rest of the year.
Pretty much out. I mean, if you've got no one to throw to, how the hell are you meant to actually get points? How the hell are you actually meant to get wins?
But you can't. But you can't. Bit like Cam in New England, slightly different, I know. But how can you evaluate what you're getting from allegedly the star player? What can you evaluate with the line shit? You got no one to throw to. Your running backs are garbage. It's all a whole thing. But I think Adam Gase is taking it to the absolute limit of, do you know what? Fuck it. We'll tank. We'll pretend we'll be all right, but fuck it. We'll tank. And maybe he's got some pictures. Maybe he's got some pictures of the owners in uncompromising positions. I don't know, but Adam Gase should have been gone fucking weeks ago.
Well,
weeks
ago.
He should never. I'll say this: he should never have been. He should never have got another job, another head coaching job after he got fired from the Dolphins.
But he obviously had a fucking PowerPoint or some shit that, and I'll take this back to the Niners very, very quickly. Mike Singletary got the job because he had a fucking wonderful PowerPoint presentation of how he was going to produce this shit, and he was crap.
Do it on the field, not on a fucking piece of paper.
Yeah, exactly. But Adam Gase obviously has gone in there and gone, Woody, we're shit. But
I will say, Nick,
sorry,
Scott, to emphasize your point, in kind of Sam Darnold's fence, it's hard to judge what you have in that situation. Just look at Ryan Tannehill once he got away from Adam Gase.
He's a QB killer, right?
Yeah,
I think we can all agree.
I mean, I could see that. I could see that being part of the problem. But again, like you said, Sam Darnold just kind of continued doing what he did in college in the NFL. So
he's not been good. I mean, let's be honest. If Adam Gase was if he was the coach of KC with Mahomes, would you be worried?
Well, I mean, and I should know this, but Adam Gase was the offensive coordinator for who was the quarterback that basically got him all his jobs? Was that Manning?
Yes.
I mean, he kind of rode his coattails, right? So
basically.
I mean, I think you've seen that too, the Tom Brady Millionaires Club. How many coordinators and coaches, have gone on, and QB coaches have gone on to be coordinators or head coaches elsewhere, and once they didn't have Tom Brady, didn't do anything. And so I think a bad coach can ride an exceptional player.
Yeah, but there's bad
height, but Sam Darnold's not an exceptional talent. He's not a generational player like Manning or Brady or Roethlisberger or Mahomes.
But do you think Darnold, in the right situation, would flourish without the bullshit in New York?
I
mean, there's a lot of talk that Darnold is coming to the Niners.
I would like to see that. I'm not going to say. I wouldn't sit here and say that I absolutely know 100% that it wouldn't work. But I wasn't a big fan of him coming out of college either. So I think it's kind of a
to be honest,
being
he did
terrible.
get a lot of.
Yeah, I think
he got a lot of
him
negative
being mediocre
press,
and Gase being a terrible coach.
It's a weird situation, and I think there's going to be a lot of QB moves. Obviously, KC, they're set for the next however many years until the contract becomes too fucking ridiculous and they have to dump Mahomes or dump everyone else that's a high
I don't think
player.
I don't think they'll dump Mahomes. It'll be more like they'll restructure the contract to make it work.
Okay, so but
time out. But they will have to make sacrifices. I mean, the likes of Tyreek Hill may be passed on because you have another speedster in McCall Harmon. Travis Kelce, yes, he's still one of the best Titans in the NFL, but he's now on.
No,
debatable. Debatable. But yeah, Travis Kelce now is what, 30? Is he 31 now?
He's 30, I believe, but he'll be 31 next year.
He'll be 31 next year. So you know, tight ends will only start. They only have a short span, tight ends. So I mean, and you've also got to look at it as well. Your defensive line. You've signed Frank Gore. You signed Chris Jones. You've still got Honey Badger on your books. So
yeah, they're gonna have to. They're not gonna be able to carry these big contracts on these guys. They're gonna have to draft well and supplement them in there. But someone like Mahomes can lift other guys up.
You say that, but they've then got. Hang on a minute. We'll screw with the cap. The cap means nothing because apparently the cap is going to be 190 million. It's gone up. And that's the thing I don't get. There's a lot of teams that will just manipulate it to suit themselves, but will go, do you know what? 3 years down the line, fuck it. We'll do it. New Orleans Saints are the prime example. If the cap stays the same next year, Scott, Carl, and me will be playing on that team because they've sold out this year to do everything. Absolutely. So the cap means nothing. And that's the thing that I don't get with a lot of these teams. You know, right, we're all in. We're going to win this year. We're going to do it. And if they don't, they've had it. Kamara's going to have to go because he can't be in it. Emmanuel Sanders, again, was a mercenary from the Niners. You know, they're already like 30 million above the cap. How does that work?
Well,
Michael Thomas. You also forget Michael Thomas as well.
I think they're playing.
Drew Brees will retire at the end of the year.
I believe this is, if not this year, next
Michael
year.
Thomas.
Then they'll be on a rookie. They'll be on the rookie quarterback contract program, and if they draft the right one, you know, that's the way that works. That's the
we're gonna
go on.
No, go on, Carl. Go ahead.
The thing is, that the Saints, if they do go for a quarterback, Saints, I mean, there's not really anyone you could go for in the draft because the top three, which will be obviously Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance, they'll all have gone by the time the Saints are there. The only other quarterback that could be on the Saints' radar at the time is, and apparently there's been a lot of rave reports coming out of him from BYU, and that's Zach Wilson.
But do you buy, right, and bearing in mind Taysom Hill's been around for quite a long time, are you buying the hype on him? And bearing in mind,
he's not a quarterback. He's not a quarterback. Do you know who's actually thrown more touchdowns than him? Jarvis Landry.
I was going to say probably someone like
Jarvis Landry thrown more touchdowns on him. And this is the thing though. The Saints don't use him as a quarterback. No. They use him as a running back. They use him as a receiver. They use him as he's basically a Swiss Army knife. He can work he can play in any sort of position.
But the thing is, he's not worked as he should be. He's not worked as a quarterback. He may occasionally get a few plays.
If we had preseason,
I'd be like, and he is making good money, right? He's not being a sucker here.
No,
he's making all right money. But can you see any team all of a sudden taking a punt on him if he was in free agency and going, we need a Taysom Hill as our quarterback? As a quarterback, not as a stupid twat that fucks off over outside and all of a sudden Drew Brees finds him, or it's a wildcat or stuff. He's
a proper quarterback that can run out. Yeah.
No, he is, because no one's seen it, right?
Right. I don't see him. I don't see him as a starting quarterback in the NFL. I just don't.
If we had preseason this year, we'd have seen a lot more of Taysom Hill in preseason to actually have to work out, is he the right quarterback for us? Can he sling the ball? Does he make good decisions and all that? Because we've had their preseason, we don't know. That's why Jameis went.
He has not thrown it. That's exactly why a lot of these sort of second-tier QBs are starting. I don't know. I just don't buy into him at all. I don't. I can't. What? Okay, so let's throw this out because we all know Mahomes is the god and blah, blah, blah. Carl, if they don't ride with Cam, and I can't see him riding with him at all, who would you think would be a plug-and-play guy if you could get him out of all the people that are available for your team? Forgetting all the other things about there's no defense, there's no this, there's no that. If you could take a quarterback next year, be it a veteran, be it in the draft, or someone that's getting cut, Jimmy G's been brought up. I think he'd be a great fit there. But who would? Because
he knows the system. But Jimmy G knows the system already of ours.
He does.
So
but who would you take?
If we tooled up on the offensive side, and actually, if we tooled up on the offensive side, I would send the first round pick up to the Jets and say, "Nope, we'll take Sam Darnold off you. Come to a team that's actually going to help you."
Sorry,
not kill froze.
You. Who did you say? Sorry, I froze.
I would send, if I had to any quarterback, not a draft, but any quarterback. I know Jimmy G's been talked about, but I would send our first round pick up to the Jets and say, "No, we'll take Sam Darnold off your hands. Come to us, and we'll see what we can do with you."
Unfortunately, you can't, because he's already going to the Niners. So scrap that.
All right, fair enough.
I don't think that, to be fair. The way I see this playing out is, and I love Jimmy G. I really do love Jimmy G. It's not working, and I can see us having a Sam Darnold or someone like that. Do you know what? I'd even take a Jameis Winston. As scary as that is. But hang on, no, don't shake your head, Scott. Right,
famous Jameis's Bakery. Wow, all the classic 30 for 30. He should have got Defensive Player of the Year, not Stephon Gilmore, because he threw 30 interceptions last year.
Listen. Right, this is my take on it. Right, and I'm being a true Niner fan now. Do we want to see mediocre bullshit QB play? Or do we actually want to go, fucking hell, someone's trying. Someone wants this. Jameis gives you that. I can't stand another season of, we ran it down their throats. That's why we won. But it wasn't because of the QB.
There is a saying. There is a saying though.
It's
If
costing
it's not,
a fortune this year.
there is a saying though. If it's not broken, don't fix it. If you're
But
right,
it is broken. That's the problem.
no, it's
Like
just
with
injury
you
riddle.
in New England. No, forget the injuries. Just like you in New England with Cam, it's broken. We got to fix it.
Hey,
You
Nick,
are not gonna put Cam in there next year because he's gonna want to get paid. He ain't gonna go, well, I got $1 million this year, and yeah, I've been pretty shit. I've been up and down. But I tell you what, I'll take $5 million. Bill Belichick will go, you can't see it because the door's there, but it'll be like, the fuck out.
Get $5 million for a quarterback though. That is not a lot of money considering.
No, but he's not. He's no good.
Cam Newton has got his money. Cam Newton has already got his money when he was in Carolina. He doesn't need money. He just
seriously. So why did Cam all of a sudden answer the call of the Patriots for $1 million if he didn't need it? He isn't Cam Newton anymore.
It's because that's $1 million and it's the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he sucks.
Nick,
Scott.
He
sucks.
Nick.
He's been injured. He's been injured to hell.
Don't give me injuries. Don't give me COVID. The
I
Niners
am not talking about Listen. I'm not talking about injuries.
Awful.
I'm not talking about injuries or COVID from this season. I'm talking of the injuries that he suffered when he was in Carolina. The shoulder.
Yeah, but he's not in Carolina. He's not. He's with Belichick, right? Carolina. The writing was on the wall. They tried to change his throwing thing and all that shit because Cam is Cam. Cam isn't Cam.
I think the writing wasn't the writing on the wall for the Patriots too, though. Last year they went 2-4 in their last 6 games, and Cam Newton, I'm sorry, his biggest threat was always his ability to run, to make plays outside the pocket and run, and he doesn't have that because of those accumulated injuries.
Yeah, exactly.
And Nick,
why do that?
I want to ask you a question. You say the 49ers are broken and Jimmy G won't work. What do you think the Chiefs would look like? Let's see. They didn't have Deebo Samuel for most of the season, the 49ers, right? They've had Raheem Mostert hurt. They've had George Kittle hurt most of the year. They lost Nick Bosa. What would you say the Chiefs would look like if they lost Tyreek Hill, if they lost Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if they lost Travis Kelce, and they lost Chris Jones or Frank Clark? What do you think they would look like? And an injured
Mahomes. Still. No, if Mahomes is out, then Andy Reid, with all the weapons he's got, will find a way to win.
But see, the 49ers don't have any of their weapons. I mean,
no, they don't.
You can make an argument that the best players are
River. Right. You weren't here, Scott, but we had a porn star playing as our number 1 wide receiver, River Craycraft. No one's heard of him, and no one's going to hear of him again. Right. The Niners season is done because of injuries. Forget the NFL shit with in the hunt and all that. It's a fucking waste of time.
And if you do,
we're done.
If you do think it's broken and you think it's over with Jimmy G, which I don't necessarily think is the case.
Yeah,
Patriots.
Jimmy G.
You were talking to Carl about who you would take for quarterback. If he could have,
I'd take Sam Darnold. That's who.
And you were talking. If I was running one of your 2 teams, and I hear that the Dolphins may be done with Tua after 1 game, I would be blowing that phone up.
That I will put forward to this though, because obviously Bill Belichick and Nick Saban, the coach at Alabama, they're tied together like that. So anything that Coach Saban knows about Tua, he'll turn to Belichick about.
I mean, if you want to move,
good point.
Okay, right, but why would you move away from Tua? Bearing in mind, You've got what's his name? Fitzmagic doing what mate. If he could go to the Niners, fucking hell, I'd take him all day because he's entertaining. He's got a massive beard, and I felt so sorry for him the way he was treated in Miami. But what does Tua bring you? What was his stats last week? Right, he did nothing.
No, that's one game.
They won. No, I know.
And he hasn't had an off season, and he didn't prepare to be the starter all the entire off season.
Do you know what, Scott? You sound like an apologist for Colin Kaepernick just there. He's not had this. He's not had that. Let's get him in the league. Let's do that. Colin Kaepernick sucks.
No, he did.
And he shouldn't be in this league. But two of this, two of that, two of blah, blah, blah.
I said Colin Kaepernick was a flash in the pan, no doubt. He wasn't good.
Yeah, he was. Dog shit.
But
he had 2 years, and then all of a sudden, people had tape on him, and it was like, do you know what? Take his first readout. Spy him for his run. He can't do anything. But all of these Niner fans still today in a Facebook group, let's bring Colin Kaepernick in. Nick Mullins is shit. You can't fucking have Befford run this offense. You can't do this. You can't. And I'm like, did anyone actually watch Kaepernick? Seriously.
That's because of all his activist stuff is what there is.
He's not.
He's a hero to a lot of people because of his activism, and they think that would mean still he would be a good quarterback.
Yes,
that's not the case.
Yes, I agree that. 3-16 in his last 2 seasons.
Yeah, terrible.
Tell you all you need to know. Fucking terrible.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd rather have Stidham as quarterback, and that's telling you how bad.
Wow.
But
seriously. But I love Kaepernick for his standing up for, everything that's gone on and I love all that. Trust me, I do. But being I can't think of the word. What's the word I'm looking for? Being a standout citizen and doing all that is different to playing QB in the NFL. And I'd much rather having him as a civil rights act person than I would QB, because as a QB, he's done.
Yeah.
Done. Forget it. Don't even, everyone here now watching, or is going to watch it on a replay or give me shit afterwards. That's fine. I don't care. Colin Kaepernick is done. Stop with, he'll come into New England. He'll come into this. He'll come into that. He is done.
Right.
The end. Scott.
I don't think you can say Tua is done after one game. And if you want to move on from Jimmy G, and obviously the Patriots are going to have to do something different with Cam Newton, that's who I would be going after, because neither of those teams are going to have a high enough draft pick to get Trevor or these top quarterbacks. Tua, when you look at what he did in college,
thing is, Bill loved.
Incredible.
Bill loved.
He was amazing.
Bill loved. Yeah, Bill loved Garoppolo, and I think Brady kind of was a poison to get rid of him, and I can understand that because Brady was still the guy, right? Can I see Jimmy G leading him on? Absolutely. I can. I can see that. I can see him back where he wants to be, and Uncle Bill doing what he needs to do and leading him on. And the NFL's weird, man, because you can't predict what's going on with injuries and results and stuff. I can see Bill Belichick taking Jimmy G back because I think the 49ers are going to cut him. I don't know where we're going. Sam Darnold, maybe. I'd love Fitzmagic. I can't lie. For a season or 6 games, next year, Fitzmagic just, and everyone will be like, fucking hell. But Jimmy G was like that, but he doesn't throw the deep ball, right? So he'll throw 3 interceptions and it's close shit. I'd rather have Fitzmagic 50-yard bombs than throwing them up. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's there's no way the Niners are going to the playoffs. Forget this in the hunt. Forget it.
You went
we
to,
ain't. We're not.
you went to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G once already. I don't know. I wouldn't give up on that so quickly.
Dude, seriously, it was the run game. With a bit
it was the running game, but I mean, he didn't muck it up. You know, he didn't ruin it.
Yeah, but he didn't have to. All he was doing was going. Cole.
He messed up one throw in the Super Bowl where he had to put, if all he had to do is get the ball on target to Emmanuel Sanders, and we'd be talking a different conversation.
Well,
but because he missed that, he missed that one key throw. He missed that one key throw in the Super Bowl.
Now, I will say, though, there was 2 minutes left, and the Chiefs had 3 timeouts when he threw that pass. If they throw a touchdown there, there's every reason to think that Patrick Mahomes could go down and win the game again.
If you're playing someone like the Eagles, the Giants, etc., they're not coming back from this. It's fine. And it's not putting cigars on. It's just like, but it's Mahomes, man. And he just somehow does what he needs to do. And Pittsburgh will find that out. Pittsburgh, Christ's sake, will find that out and shut Pete up because it's fucking doing my head.
He pulls the magic horseshoe out of his ass at any given time when needed to. Mahomes is just a living cheat code.
But is it because he has to, or because he's got it? Is it because he has to, or because he's
do you know what I think? I think it's actually just instinct.
It is.
I think his IQ is actually like, right, okay, this thing's not working, this thing's not working. Okay, all right, I'm getting blitzed. I need to find a way. Oh, I don't know. No look part. I don't know. Shovel pass out towards the running back who's uncovered.
In the Super Bowl,
you can't keep doing this bullshit.
In the Super Bowl, it wasn't happening, was it? That's the thing.
Not for 3 quarters.
Up until that 3rd and 15 with 7:26, whatever it was. For some reason, Mahomes wasn't Mahomes. And then all of a sudden, it clicked on. It's like, you motherfucker. But it was. It was.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I was sitting there watching at halftime, and he didn't play terrible. I mean, Chiefs scored 10 points in the first quarter, and he looked pretty decent. So the idea.
But I think the Niners' defense was
they
stifling him.
They were, and they could do the one thing that most teams that have given him trouble can do. They can pressure without having to blitz extra guys with a 4-man front. If you can pressure him and drop guys back and be able to double team his playmakers, that's the one thing that teams have been able to do.
But that was the thing
that's
last
what the Chargers do.
That's the thing with last season, right? We had a pass rush.
With 4.
This year, we have nothing. So...
Because you see these other teams, they try to get pressure. They try to get pressure on them, but they have...
You've only got to look at the Green Bay game. The Green Bay game the other day. Right?
Yeah.
We've got no pass rush. So it's not happening. Seattle, again, DK Metcalf goes off. If you don't have that pass rush...
Guys, just a quick one. I've got something to show you. Hopefully you can see.
What's that? I can't see. He's actually won.
He's won.
Hell. I'll tell you what. I'm not American, but Sleepy Joe is going to just... Sorry. I'm not a Trump fan. Well, I am, because...
Well, that's that's the networks projecting it though. There's going to be court cases, and
that's what. No, it's scheduled. It's stated.
Is it official?
That he's won. It's official. Biden wins.
But Trump's got lawsuits, and he's got things going on, and they're going to look into this vote counting.
I've got to step away for
it's
2 seconds.
It's going to get drug out.
Right, guys, I'm going. I'll wait till freaking Nick comes back. Oh, God damn it. Why am I Michigan game on? This sucks. For sake.
Did we lose Nick for good or?
No. I think he's just gone somewhere. I don't know where. He's just gone somewhere for the time being. Oh, I hate this. Trying to find my Michigan game, and I just simply can't. It's not going to work, is it? No, it's not going to work. Oh, crap. Okay.
Who's Michigan playing?
Indiana. But I can't go live stream on YouTube. I don't have BT Sport either, so yeah.
My dog was just killing me with barking, and I had to sort her out. Right, here we go. So Biden is going to be the next president, apparently.
Maybe.
Good luck with that.
The
Niners are in the tank. Sorry, Scott. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say this is gonna get tied up in courts, and they're gonna challenge a lot of legitimacy of some of these votes that were counted here the last 3 or 4 days, and they're gonna do recounts.
What's your gut feeling? Do you think Biden is the man, or?
Oh no, he's a career corrupt politician, and the media's he's been hiding in his basement, and they haven't been able to ask him questions. And when you see him talk, he doesn't even know who he's talking to or what he's talking about half the time.
It's going to be an interesting thing, right? Who gets it, who doesn't get it, who, I'm not either fan. I mean, I think Trump's hilarious because he fucks up America and American people, and they're all going to be like, shit, this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden, Joe Biden comes in, it'll be like, why the fuck did we vote for this geezer? I give him 6 months because he can't handle it because of his age. And all of a sudden, you get the vice president who's female and black comes in, and it all works out. That's my gut feeling.
Yeah,
who knows?
Again,
anyway,
it's gonna get tied up in court, and Supreme Court might get involved. We'll see.
This was Shank Club NFL politics, New England 49ers, whatever game picks.
The return.
We are now. Pete was just being Pete, and he obviously had to go because. Yeah, his wife might kill him. Next week, apparently, and we've all seen this, we've heard that Jeff is bringing on a very special guest. I don't think it will beat Mike Singletary because Mike Singletary is the GOAT, right? But we'll see. Jeff loves us. Fuck knows why. Because we're just some bums that talk about football, right? But all of a sudden, he loves us. Scott.
He likes the English fan base. He likes the UK fan base. He loves the UK fan base.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I won't be able to be on next Saturday. I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to be deer hunting. So,
yeah, but you can shoot some deer and go, hang on a minute, Shank Club. I just shot some motherfucker.
I might catch.
You just need to get a good.
You'll need to put in the little bar bit. No, there was no animals were harmed in the viewing
no
of this
animals
video.
were harmed in this except the motherfuckers that I blew away.
That sounds good, but I'll It was good chatting with you guys. Glad I got to jump on. Sorry, it was a bit late this morning.
Scott,
But
as ever, the bat signal goes up. You answer.
I appreciate it, my man.
Now is becoming one of the Shank Club. We appreciate everyone that joins in. Carly and all the people in the comments. Today's been a great day. Great day. Let's see what's going on tomorrow. Let's see if Trump wins, Trump doesn't win. And above all else, wash your hands, wear your mask, stay apart. We've got to do something to get rid of this fucking virus. So let's just do something today that's going to stop this. Carl, Pete, everyone else. Respect, we out.